Of the camera, and we shall wait for things to catch up. Happy Little Fox, aka Benji, needs more orange. I do have orange LED strip down here somewhere. I'll maybe have a look for you later on. We have China North Airguns here, Fred Smith, Zane the Magic Puffer Dragon, Wetware Error, just me, Stephen Brown, Echo the Husky, Liam, Scruff Dog, Furbear's here, Jungus Buffonius, Slur. Just the names are just suddenly shooting up. Let us begin the stream in the traditional way with sterilization. Sterilize everybody. Not it really matters anymore. There's even all the travel restrictions have been lifted and everything. They're really going all out for it now. But anyway, since sterilization has become a habit, I forgot to put on Mousie's little mini supercomputer, didn't I? Yes, I did. I shall put that on now. Greetings, Spectrum DIY. John Baden says, evening, technical family. Indeed, good evening, technical family. So, where is Mouse's little supercomputer? There's Mouse's little supercomputer. God, it's hot in here. Getting hot in here. I may have to take the clothes off later on, but not all of them, obviously, because that would be perverted. First, Rumsa, you will not be coming round. You stay where you are. That's so we can have more intimate chat. We'll leave it for those drunken debauchery that happens at your house. As before, the first one, the first Yiga will be to victims of war, the people in this ongoing situation on all sides. To the victims of war, which is down to greedy wee bastards looking for cash or power. Really. Someday they'll just remove those sources of the problem. And to the person who said they didn't like my Ukrainian flag supercomputer because it was suggesting that I was supporting sides and taking sides in the war, fuck you. So there we go. But I have some interesting subjects tonight, deep subjects. One that I was going to cover last week, but that didn't really happen because of it got a bit wild. Hot Air says, wearing big heavy coat, Tom Hewson, indeed. Vlad just wants more rubles. I think he just wants power, John. What the heck happened Thursday, Duma Brazorf? It went on a very long time. It went on for 6 hours, 30 minutes. The microphone ran out of power. I did plug the power supply into the microphone receiver, but I didn't turn it on. And that's when YouTube decided that the stream had ended. But maybe it's just as well, because 6.5 hours. Things were discussed that got things off people's chests, which is good. Need to switch mini pewter on. The mini pewter is on. Combustibility of churches. They're very combustible. Treasure Bloke. Was it Treasure Bloke? Hold on. Let me just scroll back. Treasure Bloke. They're very combustible. They make them basically out of tinder wood and then put candles in them and then wonder why they burst into flames. Jazo Sayers, I fell asleep watching that stream. I don't blame you. It's basically an entire night's sleep encompassed in one stream. Lots was drunk. I'm not sure what was in this stuff, but I had a muzzy head. I was fine. I stayed up late. Strangely enough, I stayed up late and 3D printed loads of stuff. How's life treating you, Clive, says Lee Goodyear. Life is fine. Tech Gorilla, in interest, check out some modular medical grade opto-isolators. I'll send them through. If they're really too specialised, particularly if they're all sealed in, it's maybe not such an easy thing. Oh God, it is so hot. It is so hot. One moment, I'm going to have to get my kit off here. It's very hot. Had to go to bed on Thursday. It was great, GS says. There we go. That's better. You gave a Muslim head. Well, I haven't a clue. I did wobble all the way back home along that lovely path, which doesn't have illumination on it, unfortunately, at night, because, unfortunately, for political reasons, they've decided a British company has to come across to install the motion detectors because the Isle of Man does not have technical people on it. They don't have an entire street lighting department. So that's not going to happen in the near future. You can get your kit off if you wish, Ellie Greeno. Any orange stuff? Well, you know, there is. orange LED neon, but it's just not convenient to hook it up right now because it would mean soldering connections into the end. But I think I've used some of that. I think I've used some of it in. Yeah, I've been making lots of neon shapes. Lots and lots of neon shapes. Mr. Phil, you did miss sterilisation. It's all right. Nobody cares anyway these days. Can't you do it, Clive? Yes, I can do it, but to actually terminate it properly would mean cutting into the middle of it to get a proper connection. Let me think. Put in a bid to look after IM streetlights. Technically speaking, the Department of Infrastructure and Manx Utilities are supposed to do that. China North Air Guns. Also, it would require getting an access unit, a cherry picker. And they're political. Zap Sparky, they're political. I know the people who actually do it, so. Yes. I'd have to give huge backhanders to people in an important position. Katrina Bryce, you could go back to the beginning of the stream, get sterilised, and then come back to the end, where we're in the moment. Greetings to cloudy Florida, Bill Halloway. I care about sterilisation. Nobody wants more of me running around this earth, Jason Green. The more weirdos there are, the better. Clive, you're in Glasgow on the 7th or 8th May. Pop over to the Glasgow Coffee Festival, which is held at the Brigade for some yummy coffee action, Harsh Chop. This gets awkward because the local coffee shop said, "Oh, would you like to try this special blend?" And I said, "It doesn't matter, I can't tell the difference." "No, really, well, I'll make you one of these and you can tell us what you think of it." And it was like, it's fucking coffee. I can't tell the difference. It's like beer. Beer is beer. Coffee is coffee. Wine is wine. It's just, I don't differentiate. It's just, I'm not very good at that. Would there be bribable supercomputers, Zap Sparky? Given that most of the streetlights that have been installed, the LED ones, have turned into single pixel supercomputers pulsioned off, probably yes. Thank you, Peter Stevens. Much appreciated. Manx Group Therapy Deposit. It may be needed for the Manx Beard Club. Cider is not cider though, 45 RPM. Well, yes, you get cloudy cider, you get non-cloudy cider. Most of the stuff sold locally isn't even cider. 45 RPM cider is not cider though. You're right, it's apple flavoured alcopop in most instances. What's coming out the tap in the local pub is might as well just be a soft drink. John McFern, maybe they need to go back to the old mercury vapor streetlights. You know, that's a subject I was talking about with some recently. I used to pass by a really old one, the one with this bowl underneath it and the little cover. And I thought, if I ever see that getting taken down, I want to just have it, just because it's a classic style. Then I walked by one day and there's an LED streetlight in its place. An okay LED streetlight. To be honest, the original lamp hadn't been changed in ages. The glass was all grubby and green, and it wasn't putting out a lot of light. Apple Shandy, it is, Darren. Bob S., you get the streetlight contract, you can derate them so they last forever. The downside of derates them is that if someone had a crash, say some businessman had a crash, he said the lights weren't bright enough, and they have an investigation, they could then say someone has interfered with these. I haven't seen photonic induction in a while. He tends to go in bursts, Audio Gek. Bursts of flames, actually. I like apple juice in a sippy cup. Are we talking alcoholic apple juice, Norm Swan? How's Kevin? Kevin's fine, Dave. He lost his father recently, and it's just, it's going to take a while to get over that, because you know what it's like with what we're talking, the box with the ball analogy. The button, there's a button in the box and the ball bounces around and either the ball or the button gets smaller, but every so often, even years later, you'll get a little pang, a little memory will be awoken. No socks equal no streetlight, Nisai, only if you want lurid yellow street lighting. Have you done much work over the years on Martin Mac 500s and or 600s, Sean Yem? Thankfully, no. Just a little bit, but not much. I tend to play with the big boy toys. Mac 2000s, the ones that used to just blow up all the time. The power supplies, the lamp drivers used to just blow up. Maybe it's just a bad time. Yes. So, thinking. So I'm scrolling up and down. I shall scroll down to the bottom where it's all happening. Good Kevin's a good man. He is indeed. Down to earth. At least Kev's a good family. He does. Jamal, all the streetlights are being replaced with LED ones, and they're lasting approximately as long as one of the old replaceable lamps did. It's not great. Dan D, know any good channels for ST micro tutorials? I don't really. I've never used the ST microcontrollers. I tend to side with PIC microcontrollers just because it's what I grew up using. Did you sort your drawers out, Sean Yem? Yes, I cleaned them. Oh, those drawers. They're fine. I'll sort it out as it goes along. I did notice that some of the clear neon lamps are in amongst the green and blue phosphor lamps, and it's kind of obvious, but you can't tell the difference between green and blue phosphor. Martin Lighting owned by Harman, who's owned by Samsung. Oh, I didn't know all these. I didn't know that, Callum Rowley. Greetings, human seagull. Enjoy your beer tonight. You'll be drinking lots. What we're drinking tonight is going to be ginger beer and rum. Dark and stormy is all the way. After the coffee. There's some 3-year-old LED Thorn streetlights near me. The paint's falling off and they have water inside. The paint always falls off streetlights. They always look a bit scabby. The water inside is more of an issue. Bonsoir, nuts and proud. June went crazy. He does, original. Radman. It's Juan, not June. Juan. Juan. Like Juan, but June. Thank you, Goran. Much appreciated. To the Coloured Ethanol Fund. I shall stock up on ethanol. I did actually recently buy a bottle of rum. Nicola's the LED culprit. I did notice that Nicola was swapping things. Have you ever been outside the UK? Yes. I've been to America, I've been to Holland, I've been to Germany, and I've been to France. That's about it. Thank you, Opalinus. DIY wireless LEDs when? I have actually made some DIY wireless ones. I got the inductors and just put 2 inverse parallel LEDs across them, and they lit. They weren't as sensitive as a tuned circuit, but they lit. They also worked with the other oscillators, so they were non-frequency dependent. When am I going to visit Bulgaria? I'm not really sure. Hutchie's fine, Kevin Hardesty. What cities did you visit in Germany? Dusseldorf. That's it. Visited the big fairground in Dusseldorf. I'm not legally allowed to leave South Yorkshire, says Mr. Eggcake. That sounds a bit extreme. You should go to Shenzhen. I want to go to Shenzhen, Lambda. I want to meet Naomi Wu as well. Just not necessarily for business, but just to have a coffee or tea, whatever they drink. And a visit to Canada, Ontario. Chris, yes, probably at some point. June should bring his act to Fremont Street. Yes, we would be a complete act, Peter Stevens. He would blend in. He looks like an American. For business. Loam, I actually asked my accountant about that and said, can I claim a trip to Las Vegas back for a business expense? And he said, no. Okay, because if you enjoy it, you're not allowed to get the money back. He's so strict. Maybe I need a more unscrupulous accountant. You should try the rice wine. Indeed, Katrina Bryce. Well, I've tried rice wine. It's pretty good. I think I would get on okay with Naomi, Mr. Eggcake. I wouldn't do what some of the other obnoxious channels have done and just basically take the piss out of her, which I thought was just unacceptable. Will you be discussing LED fireplace, James Hauser? It has its own video. Any Germans here? Oh, there will be, Fred, because lots of Germans watch the channel. Does he have a whip? Nuts and proud. June could be bad boy with a whip on Fremont Street. As big guy with beard, you'll get some attention in China. Indeed, Lambda. I will. And I stick out like a sore thumb. I'm really quite excessively big, really. Rice wine knocked me in my ass last time I drank it. That depends on how much you drink, Jonathan Hughes. There's Zhenghang Shenzhen. Eat cats and dogs, Tony Weaver. I don't know. There's a possibility they do, but they won't be just taking people's pets and eating them. I suppose they might. Cheaper. If you ever come to Quebec, Canada, you can come and stay here. I'll keep that in mind. Thank you, ELW. I'd want to go to the redneck bit, obviously, of Canada for beards and overalls. Really, that's all. That I'm a bit shallow that way. Hagen P says, Nollywood probably drinks tea, likely green tea. I agree with that. China's some seriously nice tea, but they don't export it. Similar to the British don't export some of their excellent cheese. Indeed, and the French who don't export their nice wine, just the shit wine. Thank you, Tony Derman. Much appreciated. Just because I'm new to live streams and love of content, Clive, keep the amazing content coming. I'll warn you in advance, Tony, sometimes it goes, if I have a wee drink, sometimes it goes it's like a different Clive. It's pished Clive. Sometimes I say things that offend some people. Oh, well, I say things that offend people all the time, actually. But that's what happens. What part of Canada is redneckish, Norm Swan? Oh, Alberta. Thank you, Matty England. They ate Lassie and Flipper, allegedly. They did. And the cat from outer space. I admire the beard, says MK. Why, thank you. It's all mine. It's real, I think. Always demonetized, Frank. I don't even try to put adverts in these. I've got videos I'd like to make about these devices, but they're going to be demonetized. It's like a hiding to nothing. They're interesting. Dewclaw, indeed, Brown Cox. That's a rival electrician. Good evening, Naomi Baron. I've been offended before, not a problem, I survived. Well, that's the main thing, Zebo the Fat. Aha, a mouse is here. Kate Incredible, I'm about to pass through Calgary, Clive. I got told to keep my pride flags in my bag. Yeah, I can understand that because I used to be quite homophobic when I was younger because I couldn't face being gay. And that's when, that's the situation. That's what often a lot of the homophobia in the blue-collar places. They're too scared to be outed. What do you think about the Queen? I think she does a great job. I wouldn't fancy her job personally. I would get to wear her big hats, but maybe not. Thank you, Hendrik. You should visit Estonia. It'd be really nice. I couldn't even tell you where Estonia is. It's in Europe. Is Calgary a bit backward? The chipmunk you tend to find in the more blue-collar parts of places like Canada or even Britain. People aren't so open. It's like like the Isle of Man. Last year, the Isle of Man had its first gay pride. It had to be cancelled the first time because of COVID. They had their gay pride and literally it was just apocalyptic. It was so gay. It was unbelievable. It was like suddenly it was like the cat was out the bag. It was like, yay! And everybody embraced it. It was ridiculous. I was really surprised. Would you ever wear a pink hat? Yorkshire Rose. Well, strangely enough, someone turned up at the gym with a construction company hat on that was pink, a beanie. Queen is the only decent one out of them. That's because she has to be biggest because she's probably swearing like a trooper behind the scenes. The Queen's, Matt and Barry, the Queen's hats look like cake. You kind of want to eat them, although they might be unpalatable, particularly if she's had them in her head. Ah, yes, the sports. That's another thing. The sports, they can't be out if they're in sports because it's very difficult to cross that hurdle. You're basically saying, I'm going to throw my career in the air. It doesn't happen. Imagine if the Queen was technical. They do claim she is Ethan Teese. There are pictures of her working a car. I don't know if they're posed or if she actually did it in her younger days. What type were those vapes? Quite Jolly Roger. It was the Quite Jolly Rancher. The Jolly Rancher one is the most interesting because it's colour changing. Watch this. See it changing colour? It turns out it's quite easy to open it up. You just take the end off like this, and that reveals a circuit board with one LED in the end, but another. I'm going to have to suck it now, just to make it glow. Another 6 LEDs going into this diffuser that makes the rest of the tube light up. And it's got the little sensor thing, plus it's got a little 8-pin chip. Looking forward to taking this apart. Well, I've taken it apart and I've charged it actually, because it took a charge. It's a 550 milliamp hour lithium cell, all worth scavenging. The Queen was a medic truck driver in World War II. That's good. Plato Candale. And the future Prince King things. I'm very good at royal stuff. They're kind of military background as well. Hopefully they'll do a military coup and just mumble government. Because they can't be too impressed at what's happened in the country. Patreon only demonetized ones. Well, they potentially do earn a little bit, but not as much. But Patreon, that's the really bad ones will probably just end up Patreon only because, well, yeah, no more clitoral stimulators, no more sex toys on YouTube. It always gets a hiding. I would like a tour from Naomi Wu, BRM Bug, of the technical hotspots. How much pointless functionality do you want in your drug delivery system, new Ninja? Indeed, it's a gimmick and it's disposable again, but it's not to us, obviously. We can refill it, but it's disposable. And there's one with the full-on works that's going to... yeah, one of those ones. Drink some fizzy wine. No, that comes later. Well, it actually just comes dark and stormy later. Plato, thanks for pronouncing my name correctly. One is in Europe. One kind of like makes the best guess for Europe. Different. It depends in countries, doesn't it? It is Saturday, Will Allen. Easter Saturday. Speeding up beige PCs by painting them black. Dan from Dan's Data. Oh, right. Okay, the chipmunk. I actually had a black PC with black monitor. I went out of my way to get them when I was younger because everything was beige back then. It ended up being a really shit monitor. Nearly woofle time. The ceiling is moist because it's just been treated. It's been treated with a little extra bit boron for flame retarding. Matt and Barry had to slow it down to 2.4 to keep YouTube from skipping about. It depends on your data connectivity. Fusion, magnet jogging light you reviewed. Could a capacitor help maintain the light? The problem with that is that if you put a capacitor in, at the moment, you're getting a really peak of intensity from those LEDs, and it relies on that sudden peak of current for brightness. It could even it out. They may just glow dimly if you actually put a capacitor in. You'd also need a bridge rectifier. So that would introduce more losses. What you want to do is get a vape, right, and take the battery out, make yourself a really good rechargeable cycle light. You start off with a cheap cycle light and you put the bigger battery in it. Have you locked the front door? It is locked, Miles Bancroft. I should disconnect the doorbell as well. They'll just bang in the windows, won't they? James Hauser, no, I do not wish you leathers, but thank you for the offer. Leather isn't quite my thing, but it's very popular here during TT, and a lot of people just walk around in it anyway. Is it woofle time? It is woofle time. This is when I realised that I've actually just sprayed the ceiling with gasoline. That wouldn't be a good result. Like the smell of it. Well, you do get leather aromas. I'm not really sure. I know it does a lot for some people. I'm not a leather fiend as such. I'm more workwear. Sensible workwear. Real workwear. High vis. Woofle. Oh, that was quite a big one. It can't compete with Kevin's big splattered flame job in the ceiling. It's very stylish. That's almost worth making a video about. Maybe I'll do one. At Kevin's house. Woofle. It was very neat. The foam stuck to the ceiling, and then when it was lit, because it didn't have a supply of oxygen, it separated into lots of little pockets that rolled across the ceiling with a dull orange flame. And because it wasn't burning efficiently, it was a really interesting effect. Beige is the colour of the 1970s. Everything was beige. Kev splattered all over your ceiling, Mr. Eggcake. He woofled the ceiling in a very distinctive manner. I don't think I could tilt the camera to show you that. No, I don't think it would show it. It would have to be out here. Can you please show us a great zoom in look at an RGB color changing 5mm LED Mark Cruiser? I think there'll be videos of, well, pictures of that on the internet, but it's very boring in a way. It's the two pads. One is the chip on it, and the other has like the 3 LED chips. It's not that exciting. I didn't see avocado green. Sodium borate solution in the ceiling. I just multiple borates. Boric acid, borax, boron to the hilt. Use a mirror to show ceiling. I don't know if that would work very well. Thank you, Henrik Ostrov. Can you show some of your drawers? Let us see what's in it. Good. Let's choose a drawer. This one has USB connectors. It's got chips. Winbond, possible clones 27C512, but I think it's the rewritable one, not the EEPROM based ones. More of those. And the little USB booster leads that boost up to a higher voltage at lower current. Not a terribly exciting drawer. David Skywalker, my question wasn't meant to be offensive in any way. I didn't see your question. Maybe I'll have a look for it. Or you could ask it again. Do you ever think extremely feminine gay men might actually be trans female, but they just don't know it yet? Yes. I think, why would someone just by default talk like that? This whole thing, binary gender, it's not true. There's a whole array all through it. It's really complex, and the people that don't understand that are Bible thumping or just defiant narcissists. Horvath, I'm always offensive to everyone. That's fine. Thank you, Kieran. Yigamunian to the 2 people killed in a homophobic attack in Ireland. I did not know about that. I do not watch the news, but that's unpleasant. Scott Price, think I came to the wrong live stream. No, it's normal. It will have technical talk later on once everybody has turned up. It starts off a bit slow at the beginning. The conversation's a bit random. Later on, it will get on to high current battery isolators. It will also discuss exciting things like modern refrigerants and their ability to act as a solvent for specific oils and deposit elsewhere in the refrigeration systems. Not watching the news of wise policy, Jimmy Legg, it's because it's so junk. Yeah, fan planned, it's the feminine straight people that then marry, and you're like, really? I thought you were gay. There's technical talk here, there is, but not too much. And ozone, of course, absolutely. That, Clive, is not what I'd call a high current battery isolator. Well, it depends. It's sneak preview, right? It's technically speaking, it's okay. It's not going to be super mega high current. It clamps onto the existing battery terminal, and it's got this lug that you then connect to your car battery. It looks brass. I don't think it is brass. It feels a bit light. And also when you take this thread out, it looks a bit silvery for brass. But it's got a bolt here going through a washer, a sleeve, Uh-huh. Thank you, Kyle Fox. Keep on doing the awesome stuff you do. Thank you. John Robinson, refrigerants, interesting. Particularly butane and propane is what I'm thinking of. So there's a little sleeve that insulates it. So the only thing it connects uh, this lug at the back with the thread, with that strangely silver looking thread, and the body here is when this is fully screwed closed and this collar touches it. I mean, it's not thousands of amps, but it is just designed for when people park vehicles up, I guess, and they just want to disconnect it to stop battery drain. Ah, looks more like paint. I think it's a coat. I think it's plated. I don't know what the base metal is. That's Ave territory. I think it might be aluminium inside. That would kind of fit, wouldn't it? Ah, Carol Ravenhill. Would you rather fight one Clive-sized duck or 10 duck-sized Clive? 10 duck-sized Clive, because I could just boot them. The good stuff, well, no. Mouse, don't imply that there's favoritism here. There will be a Patreon stream, an official one, this coming Thursday. I just thought I'd mention that. Thank you, Nuts and Proud. I miss saying my birthday was Tuesday. I hope you had a good birthday. Here's the other one. I don't like this one. Because it doesn't feel like it really isolates, because when you undo it, this big thing can wobble and still touch that contact. But we shall explore these, and we'll drill a hole in them, and we'll see what the metal is inside. Maybe just file it, in fact. It'll be slightly avish. Aluminium and brass don't go together, lytic corrosion. I haven't a clue what this is. Maybe it is solid brassish. I mean, they make taps out of this stuff. One of them looks kind of dull brassy. Another one looks a bit too shiny and gold. It looks too fake. This Thursday is the Queen's birthday. We could toast to her. We could toast to the Queen on her birthday, Liz Edwards. Here they turn purple sometimes when they fail. Hampton Mechanical. What? What turns purple? Oh, the streetlights. Ave probably is buried in the snow. I mean, he's in Canada, so like that, yeah. Like, oh my God, I can't see Hamilton Mechanical. I wish the local streetlights would fail that way. That's when the phosphor drops off the chips. That sounds great. Probably crap alloy like car door handles, Nigel gun. I do get the feeling that if you use this as an isolator, one day your car may not start or it may have problems, and then you'd find this was all burnt and pitted. I just get that feeling. New Ninja. There are people who sell machined objects that are really heavy, yes. Bears, engineers, strangely enough, they just turn things in the lathe, and wow. Makes me wonder how many ship's lathes get used for stuff like that. Probably shite metal, Tom Houston. It will almost certainly be shite metal. Ryan Drew says, one of the cities near me replaced the sodium streetlights with similar coloured LEDs. I think the white LED lights look more sharp and crisp. You do get retrofits with the yellow LEDs. Phosphor-loaded yellow LEDs for efficiency, really. And I think it's done for architect. You know these planning departments that say, no, you can't change anything. We're putting new streetlights in. No, you can't. They must be the same colour. Nothing must change. History must stop because we are here to stop history. Planning departments like that are probably the result of that. Because the sandstone will look the wrong colour or something like that. China loves zinc castings. It could be zinc. I've run out of coffee. Yellow light is more efficient, Simon quotes. Single color wavelength, it's not, it's more efficient, but it is just because it hits almost the peak of the eye's spectral sensitivity. And the monochromatic stuff is just too annoying, particularly when vandalism's going on. What were they wearing? About 3 shades of yellow. It ranged between black to yellow. Yellow light is not prettier, Vera de Wolf. I kind of grew up with yellow street lighting. I kind of like the new. I didn't like the first LED street lights, the cold white ones that just projected a dot below the street light just so they could tick the box and show the meter reading. But the modern ones are pretty good, and the optics have improved greatly. New Ninja. I also hate architects. Some architects are good, but many of them are just not really skilled in building. Gas Masher, I've heard a guy doing LED streetlights saying he loved them because they had to replace them so often and are under contract to do the work. They're creating lots of work and you don't change a lamp. You bang the whole head off and just slot a new head on and throw a flex down the inside. It's not a good approach. Hmm. Monochrome light is easier to filter out wetware, error says, like a astronomer. I almost said astrologer. Yeah, astrologer. The lights here are kind of wormish. They're not worm light, but they're nice. Greetings back to Edinburgh, James Murray. I will hopefully be in Edinburgh later this year. If everything goes to plan. Properly serviced mercury light's great, but they use enough energy to get banned by the energy conversation knuts, John McFern says. Yes. The phosphor degrades in them quite quickly, to be honest. Xenodiladon, the streetlights here start to turn purple. It's a common thing. I wonder who made those ones. I'd love to get one of those ones, even just to panel out the inside or a picture of it, just to see what's actually happened. Some of you guys must work in street lighting. Callum Rowley in Midlothian Edinburgh, the retrofit LED head, then 2 years later replaced the head and column with a new one. Yep. I've seen architectural crap LED lights get put in the tunnel underneath Central Station in Glasgow. These expensive designer lights, they just looked expensive. They all started strobing and flashing. So they replaced them with new designer LED lights and they've started strobing and flashing as well. And they don't just change one, they change the whole lot. It's just LED. The problem with LED is that it's so non-economically sound, really. So bad for the environment because of arseholes get involved in it. They could make them last a long time. Anyway, that's almost turning into a rant, isn't it? Zane the Magic Puffer Dragon, just be glad you don't have streetlights. The streetlights, you don't get a huge number over here in the Isle of Man, but they go off quite early at night. It's quite nice, actually. The jet black. You can see more stars. Can see Blackpool illuminations from Isle of Man? I think you can, Beardy Weirdy, when you get to a clear night in the right location. Tailsaber says, I miss seeing stars. Just touch electrical connections and you'll see more. But they're nice. There are times over at my mum's dad's place that I just go out at night on a clear night and just look at the sky because there's no street lighting anywhere in their vicinity. And it was just like so many stars that you can't see anywhere else because the ambient light blanks them out. But looking up, it was just like peppered with stars. Really amazing. Ah, my God, it's full of stars. Indeed, Spider Driver Lee. I found a copycat recipe for Pepperidge Farm Milanos while watching today. I'll be milking those treats. Okay, I'm not sure what that is, Rick's Radsviz. That's, I'm not familiar with that. Corona Discharge Purple Light is quite nice, Goran Winter. It's strangely deep. I wonder why that is. I've never really thought about that. I remember some gas street lights. So do I, Bob S. Outside the house because my dad liked them. Open up the red box. The red box. Not familiar with the red box. So I'm going to put this cup through, right? Back in a moment, then I shall pour myself a dark and stormy. Hmm. Mike and Co. I think Kevin was the one who was most hungover. I had a slightly muzzy head, but I stayed up late doing 3D printing of the neon frames. I've made lots of them, nudging the sizes, doing a whole range of sizes just to see how the LED fitted to the nearest 25 millimeters or inch. So that was quite useful. NBC was some weird shit. It usually is weird shit. That's what happens. It's not normal. They're not normal. Maybe I'm not normal. Alcohol brought emotions out. This is maybe good to get them aired. Callum Rowley, do you watch the Glasgow Spark who does all the street light? Can't believe the amount of overhead stuff still ate in the schemes of Glasgow. It is still widely used. I do occasionally see his videos, yes. And he mentioned he watches my channel in return. Who is normal? Normal people. You don't want to know them, Snowy. I had Dar Stormy Gin today, Gavkit. I didn't even know that existed. Greetings, Grant. How's things? Marky and Gully, ginger beer is hideously expensive everywhere I've been here in the UK, in the US. Greetings, Lot Watcher. This is just a soft drink. This is about £1 for 2 litres. What would 2 litres be in imperial measurements? Not really sure. Does it even have the imperial measurements? This I very much doubt it. No, it says 2 litres. It's a bottle this size. It's quite big. It's the equivalent of about over 2 bottles of wine, but not alcoholic. You're probably talking about the ginger beer that's alcoholic. I missed the dumplings and sake. Was it good? Most of the dumplings were good. There wasn't actually any sake there. We had similar stuff, Simon Reeves. Some of the dumplings were suspicious. They tasted a bit off, if you ask me, but I didn't eat them. Maybe that's why Kevin was a bit woozy. Not as woozy as Nicola was after last week. She drank too much. She was ill. These things happen. RYND Electrical is a great streetlight channel. Stephen Brown, I think he may have changed his name because that one's not an easy one to remember. Is it? I might be thinking of something else. No, it's hard to say. He needs to work on his camera use. He needs to bracket that so he can mount the camera onto the bucket rim. That'll work better because he's trying to hold it. A lot of people try and hold the camera with one hand and work with the other. You can't do one-handed work easily. As Nicola admitted trying out a mouse, she said the dog got it and chewed it, so it doesn't work. Right. Well, I believe that. Rayman manages it. Rayman is using quite a few camera techniques. He has a slick operation there. As does Eric O, with his camera mounted on his trolley. And sometimes under the bonnet. Magnets, I'd guess. Hello, John Cattrall. Maybe she just calls it her dog. Indeed, Gas Masher, that could be it. We need a new neon cock and ball. That could be viable. I still have to work out how to do the star. Thank you for the people who sent me star scripts for OpenSCAD. None of them are suitable because they're pointy stars. Dead easy just to have a ring of triangles. It doesn't work that way in this case. The star, because it's the neon, it has to be the LED neon, it has to be curved at the end, not pointed, and then, so it has to go around curves and then curved on the inside. That makes it very difficult to do. I'm still trying to think how I'm going to do that. There'll be a technique. Nicola was led astray by you. No, Nicola is easily led astray by herself. GS1512. There were 3 bottles of that fizzy posh wine through there. I don't remember drinking that much of it. Not seen much of Erico lately. He's still putting videos out, nuts and proud. And there's a cat. How serious are we about a trip to Las Vegas, NBC man old? In the future, I'll let you guys know if I'm doing it. But let's let the whole COVID shit pass first. They're stunned by the conversion of the US dollar. Is the US dollar low against the pound? Or I'm not really sure. It used to be $2 to the pound. It's not anymore. It's not been that for a long time. Thank you, Aaron Miller. Minkowski, I'm not really sure, Thomas, and I've not encroached into that area yet. It starts getting very mathematical after a while. Are the supercomputer LEDs still okay, Mads? I think they are all okay. If you're talking the ones that were failing, I've not used that panel in a while. Any new gadgets this week? Not an awful lot, to be honest. Vaping devices was about it, including one of the shittiest ones yet. The easiest to open, but actually not great inside. It's like they skimped on everything, and it's like we also made one. On the other note, I look at some of these other ones, I think these are all coming from the same factory. Either that, or there's a manufacturer of standard styles of cases that makes the cases for the people who then put the stuffing into them. This one is odd. There's a little air control vent in the bottom. It was quite hard to get open. If you have one of these, they glue it at the ends. Just the ends, not the sides. And this goes. Nicotine free, because I took the nicotine stuff out of it. Convention attendance is tax deductible if you're appearing at the convention, Rifleman. But he said very strictly, you could claim some stuff back, but only the specific days that were associated with your business. What he doesn't realize is that just walking along Las Vegas Boulevard, the boulevard, is you're bound to get approached by people. You can't really leave work when you're... Maybe I'll just claim everything and... Yeah, I don't know. Is Les Pounder in today? I still have some of Les Pounder's candy. Little bigger, one US dollar equals 77 pence sterling. It depends on the exchange rate. Most of mine's in, well, not a lot of it, in PayPal, which guarantees a terrible exchange rate if I convert it back to pounds. So I just buy stuff in the American dollars. I thought you went to Australia. I did, Dave Ward. That is one place I missed. I went to Perth and Melbourne. Grant Rennie, if you're going to organise anything, make sure you talk to all the YouTubers before you just randomly organise things. Don't just push ahead with that, because we have to be involved as well. Girlfriend won't watch the football, says Mr. Eggcake. Get a boyfriend. Indeed. I'm still undecided getting one of the Flux vape pens, says Steve. Didn't you go to Australia with your mum? Yes, I did, Dave Ward. And Ralph. It was when my mum was starting to develop Alzheimer's. We thought, let's go and tour the world. And we went a few places. What have I missed so far? Nothing. The untidy workbench. We're just a very tiny wee rant, but that's about it. The PayPal exchange rate thing, if you convert from dollars to pounds, the exchange and the processing fee is built in, and it's not very favourable. GS1512, $4 to the pound at one time. That would have been great for holidays. Do you play any musical instruments, Harris Chalk? I will pick tunes out on a keyboard, digital audio workstation, but the only instrument that I played as such was the recorder or tin whistle in the past. That's the first ginger beer down. You took Ralphie, that could not have been fun. It was fine, to be honest. Bit pretentious. He chose a completely different place than the place I chose. Can you transfer PayPal to a US dollar bank account? Oh, Katrina Bryce, it causes complications because the banks are pretty bad at taking commission as well. They'll add, if it goes, the more stages it goes through, the more will take fees until you end up with not much left. That's how the finance industry works. Horovac, I do not actually play the meat flute. No. Not good for holidays, you because you're not allowed to take more than about £75 out of the UK at one time. I think they can go and ram that up their ass, Dennis. Goran Winter, my vape uses an 18650 cell. My main completely nicotine-free one also uses an 18650. Oh, that guy, congratulations on getting COVID locally. Simon Coates, my Down syndrome friend, just sent his DNA off to 24andMe. Isn't that the DNA tracing? They're actually basically mapping things out. That's quite interesting, actually. Are you still looking for a workshop? Ethan Tees. I'm not right now because that kind of put me off the whole situation that happened there. I didn't enjoy it much. Big Minty, have you ever had an experiment go wrong? Yes. And nearly burnt your house down? No, because if the slightest hint of flames, I'd deal with it properly, like you're supposed to, and not go, oh, panic, panic, somebody call 999 and let the place burn down in the meantime. No, I don't do that. I have had a few fiery incidents, but they were instantly managed in a professional manner. Ellie Greener, did the DNA thing? Turns out I'm descended from Yisker the ice giant. Seriously, me and Rob toyed with that. With getting the DNA tested. Did you previously smoke cigarettes? No. Plato Candel. This is why I don't generally use the nicotine ones. Or if I get the nicotine ones, like this one, I rinse out the little foam thing and just put in a nicotine-free thing so I can puff without any effect. This, on the other hand, still contains its nicotine. How hard is it to solder on a lithium battery, Scott Price? If it's got the little tabs that are designed to interface and be soldered onto it, it's not too bad, but don't get the foil too hot close to it. If you're talking 18650, I don't recommend soldering directly to them at all. Although it can be done, but I don't really recommend that. But if it's the tabs, just be careful. And if a tab is not taking solder, then it might not be it might be the little aluminium tab that comes out, and it won't take solder because it's usually spot welded onto something that does take the solder. The joke was 24andMe instead of 23. Oh, right, okay, Blue. I didn't get that. Thank you, Grand Rennie. Any candy today? I have. Jeebus shave me, Princess Wald. What? Get a fire extinguisher, maybe to plan ahead a little. Absolutely, planning ahead is good, and just using whatever and knowing where to tackle a blaze at the base of the flames and predict where it's going to go and make that wet as well. Just common sense. The best way to learn this is to set fire to things outdoors, not indoors. Oh, thanks. I was talking 18650 Scott Price. I wouldn't recommend soldering directly to an 18650. If you scrub the surface and then you apply the solder very quickly, but it's effectively, the risk is that if you actually do that and you linger with the soldering iron too long, it gets too hot, the rolled up plastic spacer in between the metal might shrivel back the heat potentially. Or you might take it above the critical temperature, it starts breaking down. And that could result in it going badly. So don't do it. I don't recommend that. Blue says it was a pretty mean joke, I think. In a way, yes, but it raised the fact that they are plotting genetics, and that's good because it The Down syndrome thing would be interesting to see what actually is different in the genetics, in the DNA. You need to use oil to solder to aluminium. The trick there, Jonathan Hughes has mentioned the oil. If you want to solder onto aluminium, as soon as you scrape the surface of aluminium, it instantly forms an oxide, aluminium oxide. That's how aluminium is so stable. If you put a drop of oil in aluminium and then scrape through it to expose the shiny metal underneath, the oil blocks the oxygen, then you can actually solder through the oil and you can actually solder onto aluminium. I'm holding this and it's just, there's no point. I'm going to like vape it. Do electrolytic capacitors need reforming even if new? No, they shouldn't, James Hoch. They shouldn't. Kim Jong-un. No need to apologise for being late. It's a drop-in whenever you feel like it. Look, I'm going like that. Now fix your lip with 3-inch nail. Indeed. That's always good. Jason Green, Jaeger time. That's why I was asking if Les Pounder's actually about. But we'll see if he turns up later on. It's his birthday. Big Minty, the best thing I've ever seen Clive have is that stage flamethrower thing, which I recently got O-rings for. Did you hear about that neo-Nazi in America who found out he was of Jewish ancestry? Probably everybody has a twist of that Mr. Eggcake somewhere. It goes back family trees. Down syndrome of an extra chromosome. I don't know enough about the genetics. Can we get Les Dawson instead? We could, Raven Looney. As Les Dawson would say, they say that school days give you the best days of your life, and it certainly gave me 2 of mine. The day I left and the following day when I didn't have to go back again. That was Les Dawson with a slight Scottish accent. Right, Jaeger. Carol Richards, it was my birthday yesterday. Well, there's 992 watching now. That suggests there's the best part of like 3 birthdays today. GS1512, nicotine killed my mum many years ago with cancer. It tends to be that tobacco-based nicotine is the issue. The Queen. Have I toasted the Queen? I'm not really sure. She got COVID. I think the Queen's actually alright. I think she's got a bit of character behind the scene. It's just Saturday Clive for me. Late night retro. No toasts for Queen, says Dennis. Really? No, she's not dead. To Her Majesty the Queen for doing, quite frankly, a shit job that none of us would want to do. From being born, she's had a huge burden of responsibility to always be presentable in public and not say the sort of things I say. And people always try and take pictures of her through windows. Just, it's a horrible life. I'm glad somebody had to do it. I'm glad it's not me. To Her Majesty the Queen. She's almost dead, Felix Moore. She's quite old. The question is, will you live as long as she has so far? No, don't get rid of the monarchs. Get rid of the real problem. She can't be funny in public because the media will jump on it and ridicule her. But then she's the Queen. She should have them beheaded. She's not had anybody beheaded yet. I shouldn't push that too much in case she decides it's going to be me. Into the Tower of London you go and off with his head. Brian Cox, I think it's going to be Camilla, Queen Camilla. I'm not really sure. I don't follow this stuff. I'm not interested. It's all token gesture. All for the House of Lords heads, yes. GS1512, that's it. All of them. Don't really know. She doesn't have much control of the situations. Can she still have people beheaded? I don't think she's allowed to do that, Mr. Eggcake, but she is the Queen, so that should be her decision. Is this pre-recorded, Holder B? Yes, it is. All record in advance. Can she have Rupert Murdoch taken out? I often wonder that, Katie, incredible. I think that would be just a worthy beheading. Because he's certainly stuck the knife into her enough. And her family. And I see, yeah, no, I'm not sure. Somebody should deal with that. Who writes your scripts? You guys write my scripts by just pressing the buttons. More rum, more ginger beer. Pre-recorded, good to know, Norms, one it is. What a fantastic fire burning in the background, Mac Delaney. It has its own video. It's very low power, it's USB powered. Late Night Retro, Clive, have you ever been to the US? If so, do you have any stories? Yes. I don't know if I want to tell them though. Like the time that I wandered out, I went over the Cadonas, the fairground family, to go attend, was it IAPA, the big thing? Or, yeah, I think it was IAPA. And the big fairground thing anyway, the exhibition. But I wandered out. It was, I think we went to, where's Busch Gardens? It's Tampa. I think we went there first, and I wandered out to take a look. This is America, so I wandered out to take a look and was immediately accosted by a black pimp who said, "Are you looking for ladies?" And the first thing that came to mind was, I said, "No, I'm a virgin," and he just burst out laughing and said he could sort that out. Very awkward. Yeah, I wasn't expecting to be asked that, quite frankly. The Queen's Moth loved bird's eye fish fingers. Who doesn't, Callum Rowley? David Reader, those little fires, they're sold. USB fireplace. Look on eBay, you might find them. You were on Nebraska Avenue. I'm not really sure, Narm Swan. Ah. Uh-huh. But anyway, yes. And the other time I arrived in Orlando, at the Orlando airport, uh, and need to get a taxi. I didn't know much about this. So I phoned the taxi number and the woman who answered said, "I'd like to book a taxi, please." She said, "What state are you in?" And I said, "I'm sober." I didn't realise American states. She asked a few times and then burst out laughing. Oh, God, I'm so naive. Have you ever worked for with Taylor's Fun Fair? Yes, I have. Asa Taylor built a controller firm, Callum Rowley. Oh, God. And the time me and my mum we weren't that hungry. We're in Disney, I think, and I said, "What do you want to eat?" My mum said, "We'll just get salads." And it turns out it was a side salad. You weren't supposed to order the salad on its own. We ordered it, and then we went out and ate our salads. And then this large, buxom, black lady came out, and she picked up the tray, and my mum went, "Oh, I'll take the sauce sachets." And the look she gave us, it was like, "You fucking white trash." And then she walked away. It was very awkward. Oh, I'm telling you, so many things. So naive. And I went into KFC on International Drive, I think it was, and they said, "What size do you want?" Nobody ever asked that in the UK because the KFC is different. I said, "Oh, just we usually get chips with it, and a chips is potato crisps." And they were, "You get chips?" They don't actually even do potato fries at the KFC in America unless they do now. Ah. About it, oh, we did, Kirka. We researched and we did tip. The main thing is, remember to tip your roommate. Especially your roommate because, well, ask Donald Trump. It turns out many of his roommates don't actually get a wage. They have to live on tips given by the people whose rooms they're doing over. I'm not sure that's the correct terminology. All I did, tipping is stupid. It's annoying, actually. I don't expect tips as such, but I will tip in the correct countries when tips are expected. If you come to a bar in the UK, you don't generally tip the bar staff. They don't expect a tip. But I did find that in Florida, everybody had their hand out for a tip. It was just that it was got a bit bleh after a while. Roommate, maid service, that's it, yes. Greetings, HVACR North. Well, now HVACR North, well, I think it's been here for a while. Let's bring in a question. So, Chris of HVAC videos, is that right? One of the bigger HVAC channels recently featured a video showing a evaporator in a refrigeration system, and it was just clogged up with oil. And they were talking about how the oil had got there and how, there's supposed to be like risers that are going to stop, the oil's going to fall back to the compressor, it's not going to go out. In reality, HVACR videos, that sounds the one Hamilton Mechanical. When I was with Hussman, I could smell Freon leaks, and Deputy said you can't smell Freon leaks because you can't smell Freon. But I have a super sensitive nose. I can smell really faint aromas. I mean, not recently, since COVID in December, I actually knocked that in the head for a while. But I could smell what I thought a coconut smell. It turns out I couldn't smell the Freon. I could smell the oil dispersing it as a fine haze. So there's always oil going through systems, and it got me wondering. The modern oh, tips are a labour law, says Zane the Magic Puffer Dragon. Asian America, you're expected to pay tips to a lot of job categories. Waiters, bar staff, the hotel staff, I noticed that, and bus drivers and stuff like that, I think. But anyway, modern refrigerants like butane and propane are major solvents. So they're going to actually merge with the oil and carry it through the system. But what happens then when they go through the orifice, the TXV, the actual expansion valve, where it goes from a liquid back into a vapor again and start in the evaporator and takes the heat out? What happens to the oil? Does it just go through and get carried through, or does it deposit there? I'm not sure. It made me think that maybe what they need, if they've got major problems like that, is just a little Schrader valve at the bottom, the lowest point at the evaporator, that the service engineer can actually just basically just poke it briefly every so often, and it will just pump any residual oil out with the force of the refrigerant behind it. Or even a little mag valve if it was a major issue. You could set it in a timer that maybe once a week it would just activate for 1 second, and it would lose a bit of refrigerant potentially, but it would actually blow any buildup of oil. Does R410 refrigerant have a smell? I'm not really sure. Not sure which that is. It's changed a lot since it used to be just like R22 and stuff like that in the past. Clive smells freon by depletion of other stuff, Nick Norton. That could be it. The oil is carried through, says Rifleman. So it's going to build up somewhere. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Certainly, old refrigeration systems, they're full of rank oil. Something keeps oil in the compressor somehow. I think the oil in the compressor gets topped up theoretically every so often, but it finds its way through the system and probably causes airlocks. R22 very forgiving. All right, okay. Joe. 600A is isobutane, so just highly refined butane. There was that interesting, because the cost of the refrigerants has gone through the roof at the moment, there are people selling what looks like camping gas as refrigerant. Someone showed a meter that they analysed the gas and it gave a complete refrigerant composition breakdown and air in the system. How does that work? Does it need the sensors replaced every so often? It looks an expensive piece of kit. Cambridge Mart, the isobutane and the propane, both highly flammable. There's a video of a shop in China, and the drinks cabinet just explodes because it must have had a leak, and it got to the same constant. It got to the ratio of the gas and air, and then maybe a thermostat opened and triggered it. Hmm. Mouse says, I keep thinking about making a DIY aircon with car components. You might be better just buying even a Screwfix and stuff selling. That's going to upset all the HVAC guys because they don't like it when people do their own installation, particularly when they come and get them serviced after and find that it's fucked up. But it's interesting. Grenfell was a fridge explosion which set fire to the wall panels. Katrina Bryce. Was that just the plastic panel in the back of the fridge that went, or was it an actual refrigerant leak? Dunno. Hmm. But you can use wiffle gas as a refrigerant. Thank you, Big Minty. Clive, you got any cool little gadgets shows we haven't seen yet? Here's a fiver to stick in the rum fund. Thank you, much appreciated. I've got lots of gadgets here, which will gradually get shown. I'm not really sure. Nothing immediately comes to mind, but that's because there's too many, and they're just everywhere. So yeah. It sounds like mass spectrometer for gas identification. Megavolt Meister, it does indeed. If they need topped up, they have a leak. Look at John McFerrin, the car systems. They just seem to top them up all the time. But fortunately, it's not a bad refrigerant in them, theoretically. Is butane a good gas for AC? Zap Sparky, I don't know how efficient it is. I'm not sure. It's used in some heat pipes. People literally get a copper tube and they braze on or solder on a Schrader valve, and then they just charge it with a lighter refill gas and use it as a heat pipe. I'm not sure how good that is. It was the phone in the background, yes. I'm not going to answer it. Ah. How many amps do I need to run a DIY spot welder? That all depends on what you're spot welding. It will depend entirely on that. Typically around about 100 amps. Typically, most welders, I suppose. I'm not sure for the small spot welders. I don't know what's going through the battery contact welders. Will Allen, please immigrate. We need smart people. I'm sure you have plenty of smart people there. Now, ECAT, Mercedes are now using CO2 as refrigerant in their cars, very high pressure. The carbon dioxide systems, the two first refrigerants commonly used in the early days were CO2, carbon dioxide, and ammonia, was it? Carbon dioxide didn't really last that long because it was hard at that time engineering the tolerances. But I think the way they work it is they uh, they use the CO2 as the refrigerant locally, and then they use glycol to carry round the rest of the system rather than trying to pump it round and have things operating at stupidly high pressures. Instead, it's just glycol that's running through. Hmm. They do still use ammonia in large installations, less, or let's say. All pretty bad. What about Freon? Freon covers many things. CO2 in cars, well, there's plenty. They make it. And cows. But certainly ammonia. I've got some ammonia right here. I do have some ammonia right here. I've got the little bottle of smelling salts. That's pure, well, diluted ammonia. Yeah, not going to sniff that too much. Spot welders pulse like a camera flash. Not as... You do get ones that do capacitive discharge, but it's usually the little ones you find on eBay which trip breakers all the time because it is a transformer, short duty cycle transformer with two prongs and passing shit tons of current, but the actual inrush to the transformer often trips people's breakers. Freon is a brand name by DuPont. Indeed, in Linux. But certainly being able to just get cans of lighter gas and use that as refrigerant would be very nice, but not ideal. Tell us what you don't have. It's very hard to say, Groovejet. What do I and don't I have? I don't keep an inventory in my head of everything. James Hunt says, I got one of those that makes the lights flicker. It's a huge inrush current. It is just a very big transformer designed for a very short duty cycle. So, not efficient. In a way, it's a scaled up version of the heated bag sealers that also the transformer's tiny in them. I made a video about that. But it's only a very short duty cycle. Radion Ruby. Hi, nice, I'm late. How are you? Doing good. Any streetlight photocells? I do, including some intelligent ones that were sent, Ethan Teese, by Jerry Barbender, who is unfortunately no longer with us. He's got those self-learning ones that he sent me. John Key says, I used to work in a cold storage facility where the refrigerant was high-pressure ammonia. The ammonia leaks were always a huge issue because it's basically evacuate the area if you got an ammonia leak. Chipmunk, tip I learned with 4 kVA, 110 volt transformers, use a 5 watt halogen light as an inrush limiter. I take it you bypassed it though. What I did for a friend, I got a ceramic turner block and put a load of parallel PTC, NTC, should I say, inrush limiters in it so it nipped the peak off that spike that was tripping type B breakers. Some Geiger counters use lighter gas topped up through a fill port due to cheap, easily availability as a coolant gas, Grant Rennie. That kind of makes sense because of all the lighter gas, butane, it is a refrigerant. After the videos, I wash off the woofler and I run the tank because sometimes the soapy water goes down the outside. I run it under the hot tap, and as soon as that you tip it up and the gas inside goes to the hot end that was washed, it makes a sort of whoosh bubbling noise inside. Lee Goodyear, ammonia is a great refrigerant but very nasty and a bit explosive. It is indeed, but then think of butane and propane. Blow oil back to the bottom into the oil pan fan plant. That's that way back in the conversation, but yes, there are systems for getting the oil back into the things, but not really sure. R290 is just unscented propane, isn't it? I'd guess it would be very high purity. It would literally be engineered to be, like, for maximum efficiency, it'd be extremely pure. I don't know. I get the feeling that some DIY refrigeration guys just stick anything in. It's refrigerant, isn't it? Let's use the cheap one. Human seagull ammonia is good as a non-carbon based fuel. I'm not sure I want to have ammonia supplied to the house. All good with June, Clive? Yes, Fama. He's on here at the moment. He's in the chat, Rumsa. The Whiffler does not use high quality refrigerant gas. It does create huge amounts of carbon though. That's 3 chlorine leaks in England at the weekend, the last 3 weeks. What the heck's that? All right, BB Junkie, is that for the water sterilisation? Oh, the HSE will be creaming their pants, and environmental protection people will be like, oh yeah, wield my power. Someone's going to court. Me. Good morning, Mark Setter. Burn ammonia and get nitrogen oxides. That doesn't sound too great, Mark Ingully. It's cooled down though. I'm going to get the jacket back on. Ah. Any suggestions for ozone generators, Matt Hillshire? For deodorizing a closet that went up in fire in the interim until we get refurbishment done. Oh, right. Fundamentally, if it's a closet, if it's a small space, any ozone generator you can get will have an effect. But yeah, it depends. You get the hotel type ones, the metal box with the discharge plates and the ceramic plates, are quite popular for stuff like that. But the power supplies, the cheap eBay ones, the power supplies fail all the time. Grant Rennie swim pools as well, they get gas leaks. Jake it, as they say in Glasgow. Jakey, Raven Looney. I did just finish my drink, Plato. Ammonia is not that flammable. I've never tried lighting it. The ammonia I've got is household ammonia and therefore is quite dilute. It's got a lot of water in it. You're now Canadian. It is the Canadian style, yes, with the beard and everything. A boot. Yes, where do these language twists come from in Canadian? There must be another culture or language that influence why they say things like a boot. Will the Cat says ammonia will only burn in pure oxygen with a very narrow air to ammonia ratio. Ah. 8-bit, loved the lady toy video, Clive. My girlfriend found it hilarious. Had to show it the Fanny Flambo video from years ago. Still funny. YouTube did not like the lady toy video. Big lumberjack. Lumberjack history here in Quebec, that guy says. I should hope so. All check shirts and big beards. And fluffy hats. Where's the chainsaw? The chainsaw through there. I do have a chainsaw handy. And a little mini one. Probably down here somewhere, but I'm not really sure where. It's not got its blade on anyway. Oh, a scruff dog screaming on Sunday? How to be with chainsaws come out of a panel in the front. I like those automatic chainsaws that it feeds the log in, then it automatically just cuts and goes back again. It's pretty good. Have you covered the microcomputer, Steve Ward? The microcomputer? Oh, I have. It's under there. That's what you mean. I wondered what you're talking about there. Tom Mooson says, I say a boot, do you? There we go. The computer is back in action. I believe the Canadian boot is from the Scottish pronunciation, hopeful traveller. Loads of us were ethnically cleansed there by the English. I see. Did the Canadians really come? I'm not sure about the history of that. I know there was a huge emigration from Ireland and Scotland to America. Did you find any hidden stuff in the house from previous owners? Not really hidden, not that I know of. Lots of weird kitchen things and ornaments and things like that that showed their history because it was a Navy, it was a Marine and a Navy Wren that met and fell in love in the Navy and travelled the world afterwards in boats apparently. And they liked the whole nautical thing, which suggests that their job was pretty good. Canadian Lumberjack, Tales of a Redneck, awesome content. Oh, I don't know about that. I didn't know about a channel like that. Is he beardy? I may watch it then. Shallow, yes. How about a live superconductor demo? I do not have a live a superconductor. I'll tell you what. I shall have a woofle. Tales of a Redneck. There's Tales of a Redneck. Hold on. He's not looking very beardy. No, there's not. It's not very beardy. That's not very good. There's supposed to be a freaking lumberjack. Woofle time. Has Kevin repainted your ceiling? No, it's very decorative, actually. I quite like it. It looks like the ceiling exploded. It actually looks like a cartoon explosion in the ceiling. Which is a good look. Let me get the butane refrigerant out. Woofle. Talk your compressors and oil. I do remember that memorable incident. When I was working in a plant room, I was working an electrical panel. One of my colleagues was removing a compressor that I had disconnected. And he had, what was it? He'd blocked it off from the system, but the compressor itself was still pressurized. Now I was standing in front of the electrical panel, and I just heard this like behind me, and my outline appeared in black oil on the panel because he just basically cut a pipe and it vented all the oil out the compressor in a fine mist in my direction. It was very impressive. It looked like something out of a Bugs Bunny cartoon. You should use a flammable gas that's light in air. Okurka, I wouldn't mind using, what would that be, methane? But it's getting it is the tricky bit. Can you please share the part number of the 2-pin connector and pins you use to quickly connect LEDs to? Mark Kruzimer, there is a name for this connector, the little 2-pin Molex connector. But the name of it, I can't remember. It's something like 25 something to do with the spacing. But that's my usual little LED connector. It's a generic. You can also use other 2-pin connectors. Yes. Wood burner for the wind-free heat. Absolutely get your spin. Wood burners are very popular here in the Isle of Man, particularly at the moment. KF2510, I think it is Steve Odler's. KF2510 sounds very, very familiar. 1/10 of an inch. Did I miss the Jaeger time? You did. Yeah, you actually just missed the Wiffle temp, late 81. The Jaeger time happens on the hour. Is the Rumsa off? I'm off, joy the stream and watch. Clive doesn't drink too much. It's a terrible influence, the drink. Yes, it influences me badly and I say shit. You may have noticed this. He said, pouring another drink. Poll time. I'm not really sure about that. Can I think of a worthy poll right now? That's all right. There will be Jaeger minions. I'm not sure has Les Pounder been here because I was going to say happy birthday to him if he was here. Someone mentioned, but we'll see what happens if he turns up. I'm not really sure. I haven't spotted his name going up in the chat. I'll just say it anyway. Happy birthday, Les Pounder. Favorite refrigerant pool? I'd have to list all the refrigerants, and I'm not that au fait with what modern current refrigerant choices are. I don't think Kim was arsed about receptive to the ceiling. No, he wasn't the slightest bit bothered, but that's fine. I'm going to eat some Baton Staffied Serum Fagar Ass. This is one of those candies from Romania. If your house started burning, what's the first thing you'd save? I'm not really sure. That's tricky. I'd want to put the fire out completely. I want to save the whole lot. It's kind of got jelly in the middle of it. And it's rummy. A lot of these are rum themed. Will it burn? I would expect it will. I think there's a bit of coconut in there as well. This is going to drip chocolate everywhere again. See, the chocolate, it turns out it's not that flammable. It tends to bubble a bit. Now that is extremely hot. Figueras is a mountain range in Romania, I believe. Aha. Does it have pictures of mountains on it? It does have pictures of mountains on it. And it's now got burnt rummy stuff. Les Pounder, there he is. Happy birthday, Les. A little bird told me it was your birthday. Would you save your TV license letters? No. There's no point, Callum, because they come so regularly. They're still sending them. From Capita, the same company that does GasSafe. Equally useless for that as well. Have you lost your temper this week? I'm not really sure because I don't know. Can't remember. Maybe I lose it all the time and I don't notice it anymore. Groovejet. I like using the word candy. It is sweeties in the UK, but I like the word candy because it's exotic and American. Is 3D plastic PLA burning? It does burn. It is flammable. You do get flame-proof plastic PLA. Not PLA, but you get flame-proof plastics 3D print, but they're very expensive. Scott Bagley. They just treat everyone as guilty all the time. If you don't have a license, they will pursue you with their threatening letters. It does make sense. Getting meter readers to actually listen for TVs in the background. Pretty sinister, really. James Hauser. But Clive, I thought you did not care for America. I like America. It's bigger and bolder. And brasher. Do you ever print anything other than PLA? Yes. I use PETG. And I think that's more or less it. That's just a clear one, isn't it? Oh, I got TPA, I think it is, the flexible one, just because that's what they sent accidentally, or just because they didn't have the other thing in stock. Could you sue them for threatening letters? No, because their government's right up their ass, Duraj. I'll see if I can find one of the letters. This one's just arrived. Official notice, investigation opened. They follow just a standard routine. I'll just open it anyway. Meter readers are checking if you have a TV. Possibly, yes, which is actually quite intrusive. To the legal occupier. Oh, thank you, Inamel. Much appreciated. Hope you're doing well, Clive. I am. So this is another TV licensing letter. It's Capita. To the legal occupier, this is an official warning that we are carrying out an investigation of your address. We have asked you to contact us several times, but there is still no record of a TV license at this property. The law, in capital letters. It is a criminal offence to watch or record live TV programmes on any channel, or to download or watch BBC programmes on iPlayer unless you have a TV licence. It doesn't matter what equipment you use, whether a TV set, desktop computer, laptop, tablet, mobile phone, games console, digital box, or DVD VHS recorder. How you can stop this investigation. Buy a license. If you've recently moved, move your license. If we don't hear from you, we will inform our enforcement division. Oh no! Should the investigation find that you're watching, recording, or downloading TV illegally, you could be prosecuted and fined. If you have recently bought a license, thank you. You do not need to reply to this letter. Gordon Smith, completely fake person, Enforcement Manager, Northern Ireland. Just stock letters. Oh, they're covering everything. Because one of the reasons I originally paid for a license, even though I didn't have a TV when I was younger and more naive, is because all the threatening letters came through and said if there's any device that could pick up TV reception, I thought, I've got circuit boards that I think they've got tuners on them that could do that. And so I paid because I thought, because all their threats and their lies, that they could actually detect these things. Oh, they're just cunts. They're really horrible. Snivelling, smelly little office suit wearing fucktards. No, there's no chance you get money back from them because how could you prove it? The chipmunk. But I paid because of the intimidation when I was young. Now I know better. Anything I can say to actually make people cancel their license and stop watching TV and actually watch something more worthwhile like YouTube, which is full of more entertainment and education, the better. The people they send round, the enforcement officers, are just basically like Starbucks baristas. They're just ordinary employees. They have no power. They rely again on deception. They turn up at your door and saying, "We are the enforcement officer. I would like to, may I come into your house to check?" Or I don't know what the exact wording they use. Someone's released all their training material as a PDF file online to actually so they can deceive you into getting into your house. But it's like Ronald McDonald turning up and pushing his way and saying, "Where's the burgers? I'm going to check out your burger maker." And I have had calls from them, phone calls in Glasgow. Don't ever give them your number. They'll ask for it, just don't give them the number. Because they will call you and listen into the background to see if they can hear a TV. They get a commission, it's no doubt, lass. Thank you, Mr. Planetman. It's been a while since we had the pleasure of an O3 video. That's because I get flack every time I put one out. Any recommendation or plug in one that will last more than a couple of weeks? I recommend the Russian Nuclear Corporation. That doesn't work very well, does it now these days? My own one, because it's like indestructible. It's the voltage multiplier one. Someone came up with a good idea. If you're in America, because it's not an ionizer as such, if you're in America on 120 volts, use two separate voltage multipliers, one for the positive and one for the negative, and then you get the rings and the needles, and the circuit boards are all online. It's an indestructible. If anything, I thought the needles would wear down with the action of the corona discharge at the tip. It turns out that it does pit them, and then they're more efficient. That was ranting. Zadster, to be fair, the BBC World Service has reopened HF shortwave transmitter pointed at Russia and Ukraine, probably because they've got an agenda there to do that. They're not a nice organisation. Dang, I had my burger maker checked out in college. Is that some sort of sexual slang? I'm not really sure. British Brainwashing Corporation, Raven Looney. They rely on deception, just like the PRS, Performing Rights Society, and threats. All these ones, nearly all the vans were empty. They were sandcoats. It was basically low-wage students working on their holiday, driving the van around, and they'd drive up and down the streets to make it lit, and it says, TV detector van. Nothing in it. And then they'd just sit somewhere, park in a prominent place where they'd been told, and just read a book all day so people could walk by and go, oh no, pay the license, it's going to detect us. And Tomorrow's World had occasionally got involved and they'd say, have a feature on the technology used in them, which was all fake. And it might have been Star Trek props in the back. It was just someone sitting in the back with knobs and dials and saying, and that's how they detect it. Pay your license. And it's like, no, it's fake. The Happy Little Fox, aka Benji, most of the equipment of TV detective was made by the BBC props department. Absolutely. You're saying just watch Sky, but the way the BBC thing works, it's channels that don't even get a part of the license fee. You have to pay to watch them as well, just to make sure everything's covered and they get their money. They bring in billions every year to Capita. Capita with connections. Mervyn Skidmore, they weren't fake. They were largely fake. They had claimed they had narrow range antennas that could detect the flyback transform frequency or something like that. It was all shit. They might as well have the supercomputer in it. It looked more convincing. But anyway, I've not really missed the BBC or the other TV channels. But as I say, now of course, Capita is trying to play it saying, if you watch YouTube, you need to pay us a license fee too. They've been pushing that, and it's not true at all. Certainly, you don't need a license to watch my stuff. Very annoying. Get news off Facebook, nothing wrong there, Mr. Eggcake. Yeah, Facebook isn't that reliable, no. That would be great. That would be a reason for putting a microphone inside electricity meters so you could listen for a TV in the house and non-government friendly talk. Yes, Fish Murdoch, yes. So, next subject. Oh, this is something I was talking about last week. That ride accident that the fat kid fell out a ride in America, the drop ride. I was trying to have it was very hard having a serious conversation with the guys in the background. Bob S., an engineer called to look at a TV detector van. There were 4 antennas, 3 dummies, and the other was connected to a spectrum analyzer displaying radio 2 spectrum. Really? Are meters inside out? Yes, they usually are. But anyway, Toll also, the kid was overweight for the ride apparently, but they let him go, and it's a bit odd. I suppose it's discrimination if they don't. But anyway, my thoughts about that. I mentioned this last week. I don't know if I managed to actually make sense because of what was happening in the background. They're using a hydraulic lap bar system. I explained this last week. The harness wasn't completely closed as the kid was too huge. It was hydraulic, Kirka. It should close at any position. But it would have been affected by, well, the size. But the hydraulic system is a closed-loop hydraulic. It's basically got a one-way valve and a solenoid bypass valve, and it's a loop of pipe. And when you pull the bar down, it's spring-loaded so it goes up automatically. When you pull it down, the oil squirts through the one-way valve. But if the solenoid's not activated, it can't go back up again, so it locks in place in any position. But those things have been used in the past, and they always get air in them, and the air is compressible, and it means that people pull the lap bar, but it's springy and spongy. A friend with a ride, one of the Magic Mouse, Wild Mouse type rides, he had endless problems with it. But when you get to the end, when it comes down, it can't be released in the air because there's no power in the air. But when it comes down to the bottom, it makes connection with electrical contacts, low voltage, the solenoid valves activate, and the lap bars go up. But it sounds like that one had enough give because it dropped, and then it's only when the magnetic braking stopped it suddenly, the sudden G-force, that it actually he slipped out. I can see what's going to happen with that. They're going to put the little in between the legs, the little sort of like the safety strap thing, and the little seatbelt strap. Shame though. But those harness systems, they're known in the industry not to be perfect that way. So I wonder why they didn't know about that. My pet hate being tall in roller coasters is you pull the roller coaster, the lap bar down, and it comes down over the shoulders with such force that bends you over in the seat. So your back's already under stress before the ride's even started. They really knacker my back. I have to be careful what rides I go on. This also makes me think of that other accident where someone flew out of a seat in a roller coaster, and he was like they'd let him go on, I think, because he's a war veteran, but he didn't have any legs. And he was lifted onto the seat, and the harness didn't really have much to actually go around as such, and that's why he shot out. And it's like strange. Tall people problems, James Hunt. There are lots of problems with tall people. Hmm. It was bad maintenance. That was a new ride. The jack attack mine wouldn't go over my chest at Carnival years ago, and I have to say, people do also defeat things. They'll pull that bar down, but they'll actually leave it loose just for the extra thrill. I did that in the Hollywood Tower of Terror in Florida. When I got the middle seat at the back with the little seatbelt, I deliberately pulled a loop and hid it under my hands. And then when the ride starts, it locks. And then it had a slack. I wanted to see if it did go down fast in gravity. It does go down fast in gravity. I shot into the air, and then you felt the strap go rigid, and then I landed in the seat again each time. It added a lot to the ride. Gingianutini. Aloha Clive from Malta. A Scottish year on a holiday, and it's colder than fucking Scotland. I see. I fall asleep, need to fuck off urgently. Night to everyone, Horavac, sleep well. Bumper cars are great with the sparks and the mesh wire. They've not killed too many people, but people have died in bumper cars, DCL. Someone fell out of a bumper car just as it was coming to a halt. The ride maybe had stopped, but they'd reversed the polarity to release the tokens. And just as he was getting out, someone was coming to a halt and they bumped into it, and he went underneath, and one hand went in the floor, the other hand went underneath and touched the wheel, and it created the circuit through him. And just sheer freak incident, it killed them. The real Rob, aka Rob, you take a size 15 shoe, can you measure between your elbow and your wrist to confirm that your arm is same size as foot? I've never heard of that one. Where's a measuring tape? Size of foot, hold on, measured from one end to the other, is about, let's see here, 12.5 inches? Yeah, just over 12 inches. So bigger than a foot. Elbow. Actually, it is pretty close. It is pretty close to the wrist. So that's at the back of the elbow, through the thing. Yeah, that's odd. Didn't know about that. And new things are in ratios. John McFern, yeah, I'm not riding theme park rides anytime soon. Being £400+ in those, yeah, it's a bad idea. Ah. Divide by 2 and it's your cock size. Right. Well, that's definitely a 6-inch cock then. It's not rigid. I can't measure it. I'm not sure that's true anyway. Are you looking forward to the Ember 2? Yes. Hopefully it's not going to be too political, harsh chalk, and everything does go to plan. I have another piece of candy here. Batul Ropelariae. I think it's going to be rum again. It's probably going to be rum. They like their rum. Type in theme park accidents. Yeah, Mr. Eggcake, the number is. It's inevitably going to happen. They're called thrill rides for a reason. Mouse says his cock is the same size as his cock. That's interesting. This is it's almost like a truffle dough. Sort of like cookie dough. SMG, I do hope to be working to this year. If everything goes to plan, yes. I'm not really sure. I don't like to say 100% because I am freelance. And you just never know what's going to happen. Matthew Newlove has booked tickets to 2. That's good. You'll enjoy it. I hope it's going to be a good diverse act this year. Braincocks, trill your R's. Yes. Literally, Catalin says, the candy bar of childhood. Aha. Is freelance your grinder name? It is not, Rabbi Boy. I do not do grinder. Why would I be looking for sex when I just don't have it, really, so... Maybe I should actually have finished the drink before adding more ginger beer and rum. The Chipmunks, Chocoland had a question about dodging voltages. Yeah, 110 volts DC, but they can set the voltage in the transformer because depending on the ferocity, they want it to be, if you want a real full-on ride, it'll be 110 volts. But they can set it lower if they want it to be a tamer ride, which a lot of them do to protect the ride. To me, that takes a lot of the fun out of it. Almost Jaeger time. It is almost Jaeger time. I'm going to go and grab some cream soda. Because I've run out of ginger beer. Dandy, good man practicing safe sex, don't have any. Yes, indeed. Solo sex. Jaeger to Hume, though. I'm not really sure. Yet. How accurate are those bottle top things? They're okay, but they're not officially approved for pub use. They're cheap from eBay, the dispensers. They work quite well, but it does require an alcohol level. It's like the viscosity of the liquid is an important factor. And then at the end of the ride, the DC, the polarity is swapped very briefly, and that fires a solenoid via a diode that actually knocks the token out of the actual coin mechanism, the token mechanism. Which means the token mechanisms will not lose their token very easily. It actually holds it. Even if there's a power interruption, it will hold it. They're very simple. Jaeger time. Oh, I know. To the person who invented Dodgems, alias bumper cars, they're great. I do like Dodgems. Alice the DJ, greetings to you. Kev is outside with some ginger beer. I don't think he will be, Allegrino. To the Dodgem genius, 45 RPM says, indeed. But and one of my friends, again, had a set of Dodgems, and he used to set it to a fair speed, but not a super fast speed. But he also regularly dusted the bumpers with French chalk, the rubber bumpers, because he said it makes them last longer because they slide off each other better. I think Colin first put a small gasoline engine into the bumper car. And it went at dangerously high speeds. As his stuff tends to do, it's a wonder he's still alive. I think he's come up close to being a cropper a few times, but that's called fun. Oh, Mouse is a shell of a real old bumper car in the garden. You hoarder. It's to be accepted. Yeah, dusted with talcum powder, French chalk or talcum. It was just basically fan pan to make it slippy, so the rubber didn't actually rip when the cars really hit hard. It protected them, and it also meant they could run it a wee bit faster and give people a proper ride. And I'm not sure what photonic induction's doing. Probably working. He doesn't always put out video. Colin Forrest must be making some serious coin, indeed, Electron Box, because there's a lot of promotion stuff, but he must be working every hour under the sun. I made a test unit for my friend's Dodgem coin mechanisms that just basically ran them at 110 volt. You pushed the button, then it ejected the token, it let them test them. It did operate at like 110 volts though. Was it in Tampa? Was it at Busch Gardens I went to the Dodgems, and just by sheer luck, they were like Buddhist monks. What are the ones, is it Hare Krishna? What are the ones that wear the big orange robes? They were on, and it was so much fun ramming the monks. I don't think I was doing it aggressively, but there was that urge. 110 volt, yes. Mr. Eke, you think that's bad? See the wee kiddie rides that you put your coin in that rides the old ones? Their coin mechanisms, everything worked at 240 volts in the UK. So if you pulled the coin mechanism out and touched the contacts at the back, you'd get a mains electric shock off it. Orange roads are Buddhist. Oh, right, okay. It was the Buddhist basher. Buddhist bumper blast. Guranga, Dale Gribble. Guranga this, ya bass. But yeah, that was interesting. The ride though, I thought it was a bit unfair on the operators. For safety, they had to hold two buttons in on either side of the entrance area. So they had to stand in the entrance area and push two buttons in for the full duration of the ride. And they were industrial type buttons. They must have taken a bit of pressure. But imagine having to hold your hand there continually for the whole ride, all the time. Simon goes, look up the meaning of misophonia. Indeed. The people who complain on my like food videos about the fact I made eating noises. Beardy Weirdy, Scream Me Wanna Go Fast, the name of a song. By Hi-Fi Sean. Can't remember the name of the group that he was in at the time. He had multiple groups, the Soup Dragons and other things. The High Fidelities, was it, for Scream If You Want to Go Faster? They basically, for the video, they hired a waltzer and got them to build it up in sort of like the middle of a Glasgow housing estate, and then just offered all the kids free rides and then just filmed them being nauseous. I wonder what happened to the cheeky girls, Mr. Eggcake. Touch my bum. We are the cheeky girls. You are the cheeky boys. They were weird. That's why they were famous, I suppose. The chipmunk, oh god, the waltzer's awful for that. I remember being on the waltzer and the strobes going off and then everything sort of stop motion and then being so sick. Like, I didn't manage to get completely off the ride. I was sick in the steps and one of the carnies was swearing at me. I didn't know in the future I was going to be making the worst strobes ever for those. Oh. Bad Bear. Yeah, the waltzer is a sick maker. Raymond's waltzer, the Hellraiser waltzer, he had to put in neck supports, the little sort of like the anti-whiplash, basically, because the ride was capable of giving you whiplash. It was DC with a big rheostat with the sort of like the big peg up handle for changing the speed. He didn't change that because it was reliable. Really hot in summer though. I didn't realise all the bolts sticking out the back of it were live. I had my back up. I was wearing overalls at the time, so not so bad. I had my back against it while I was working on controllers, and it felt and it was a hot day, and I could feel it stinging and tingling, and I thought, is that just like the sweat and the heat? No, it turned out I didn't realise that I was leaning up against the DC connections. I did try standing in Holland on the. I did technical stuff. I did all the lighting and stuff like that in the rides. I'd spend sort of holidays in Holland with the fairground, but standing on it, actually going around pushing the cars around, it wasn't a great idea because my balance isn't great for that. But also there were lights at face height all the way around it because of my height, so that would kind of mess things up quite a bit. You had to duck every time you came round the ride, and if you just missed it, it got you in the face, and then well, that's quite destructive. Not a good idea. Small people. His name was Jerry Jack Attack. I wonder where that was. Not Shades. What's that show with Gimme a Man After Midnight as the theme? Is that the one where it's the really loud lady and the gay guy are always fighting? I can't remember. Gimme a man after midnight. Make me till the morning, till the break of the day. Yes. Human Seagull is still drinking beer. This is not a surprise. Ah. That was quite a funny show. Really inappropriate at times, where they're having a party in the landlady's coffin. It was a Maxwell waltzer, actually. Andrew Howe. Quite from the Ark. I'm 6'8". We still used old style 15-watt colour bulbs. Fun times and scars. Absolutely. Possibly. I wonder if it was an old DC controller for the 15-watt lamps, 110-volt lamps. Yeah. If you're over 6 foot, don't get a job in a waltzer. Oh, Gimme is the name of the show. That makes sense. It was funny. Really inappropriate. Ridiculously silly. No, that's the style they sang it in. I could sing the full thing the ABBA style, but I'm not going to in the proper key. But that was done tongue in cheek with Kathy Burke and Deed, and they're always like punching each other. It was very slapstick. It was a shame she died. What? Who? What? Yes. But yeah, I saw some episodes of that. It's on YouTube. You can see snippets of it. It's funny. Yes, Mervyn Skidmore. Kathy Burke in a pink suit wearing a pink crush on me said, "You look like a dildo." It was rude. It was very gay, but in a funny way. Dan D, you can always look it up by typing "gimme, gimme, gimme" into YouTube. Now, Reds I did like. I mean, it's similar to the Waltzer. It was the Speedway, which was like the Waltzer, but it didn't go round. It's the going round bit that was a killer for me. But it just went up and down and round at high speed with a bit of centrifugal force. That was fine. Gimme, gimme, gimme TV works as a better search. Oh, right, okay. Of course, you're going to get all the ABBA ones, yeah. Where did you get the name Dildo? I'm not really sure. I've never really thought about that. I suppose you could Google it. There's a poll. Katie Incredible, over or under 6 foot tall? Since it's I could keep it a yes and no. Hold on. Are you over 6 foot tall? And I'm going to have to do a quick conversion here because some of the viewers are in Europe. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 72 inches, 1.83 meters. 1.83 meters because the Europeans don't do inches. Are you over 6 foot tall? Carol Lee Scott. I don't really know. Now, the interesting thing is, television. It used to be that American TV was terrible and like the BBC was pretty good, and then that's turned round. The American TV is really good, some of the stuff. Pretty good movie grade stuff these days. Oh, when you're wheelchair, it's when you're lying down. Gimme Gimme by the Leather Nun is pretty gay. Oh, right, okay. I don't know about this. Most of the world don't do inches. Some of us do inches. Exactly 6 foot tall. Well, you're either above or below. No, I'm not sure if you're exact. Go on your tiptoes and say over 6 foot. Less than 10% of the world population uses feet and inches. But I wonder what India uses. And China. I guess they must be metric. The slip and slide. Waltzer's a limited movement. I'm not really sure. Ending poll. 40% are over 6 foot. That's a surprise. Yes. Anyway, I'm going to call a pee break. Okay, so everybody go to the toilet, or but only if you want to. I mean, I'm not forcing you to go to the toilet, but you know, it's your chance to go now, or talk amongst yourselves and say things. One moment, please. So last week, Nicola uh, noticed that I keep a clipboard next to my toilet with like notes on it, software and modifications to software, circuit board design, doodles and stuff like that. And she augmented it with her own drawing. I think it's very, very talented. So well done, Nicola, for this lovely statement of that. I'll cherish this. I might frame it. Maybe not. She did warn me. She had modified my notepad. I had no need to wait, but I certainly washed the hands. Hmm. I could auction it, yes. It could be a non-fungible token. It could be a non-appropriate token. Yes. Quite. What circuit is that for? It's for the penis circuit, apparently. It's probably bigger than Kevin's dick. But yes. A non-flushable token, that is. Right, time for more cheap rum and cream soda. That was a misfire. If I want to make a video about this valve, I'm going to have to actually take the black trim off, I think. And I'm going to have to mount the camera so it follows it round. So you can actually, when I tip it up, the camera tips up too. It's going to be quite messy. The pattern for the neon. Yeah, it could be the pattern for the neon, indeed. Monty Python was quite funny, but so inappropriate at times. Oh, did she wash hands for drawing? Oh, no. Maybe, I'm not really sure. I do have a thing. I've got a slight issue with Star Trek. The intergalactic communicators, they probably took the little handheld things to the toilet with them and used them while they were in the toilet. Were they covered in poo? I'm drinking her wine. Fuck her, Rabby Boy. I think she drank all the wine. There were 3 freaking bottles of it gone. Yes, indeed, Dandy. He's a really naughty boy. The ceiling is still sooty, but it's flame retarded over the top of the soot. I don't think it's made it skid too much. It's fine. Jan Robert Nogard, I'm not sure teleporting the shit out of you in Star Trek would actually be safe. What if it teleported your kidney out? Yeah, they didn't cover that in Star Trek, did they, the toilets? Maybe they did, I'm not really sure. Any other subjects? Oh, I tried the spam fritters, they're disgusting. It was mostly batter. Not great. Oh, yes, the poll I did on things people stuck in sockets. Like, we had some clear winners. Let me just put these wrappers out the way before they cascade. I think the number one item for being stuck in a socket by small children when they were young was a pair of tweezers, because it turns out tweezers fit really well. Car keys were another popular item, and electric motors out of toys. Some people choosing to connect their entire toy, their Skelectrix track, into the main socket and a massive bang, and then their parents shouting at them. And the other thing that was a surprise, people had illuminated Lego bricks, but the batteries went flat. Quite a few connected their Lego bricks with wires into main sockets and blew up their Lego. The tricorders didn't run out of battery, they were atomic. They had firmware updates off screen, probably. Yeah, I did that. Car keys with the Scalextrics. All right, okay. Butter knives. Did they even fit in? Are you a detached building? No. It's all one. Well, the building is fully detached, yes. It's a bungalow. Does your body parts count as an item? Yes. But lots of people stuck them into sockets and then did it again and then went into technical careers, which is inspiring. I was scared by my parents deliberately. They saw where it was going and they deliberately made me scared of electricity, which wasn't terribly helpful when I started my apprenticeship. But I got over it soon enough. Fan plant, running slot cars at 120 volt or 240 in the UK doesn't result in them going faster. It just results in basically them just exploding. Clive, lose the t-shirt. These infrared patio heaters are awesome. Roger Conliffe, the infrared patio heater would probably... I used one on the Christmas Day live stream. I think I did use an infrared heater for that. So that would show what effect it had. Lots of people put their fingers in light sockets, yes. And the phaser power cell technology, you know when they say, I'm going to put it into overload, and then like they run away in it here going, and then it blows up. That's exactly what lithium cells do. So they predicted that as well. In the early days of electricity in homes, all electrical appliances were powered from an electrical outlet. What you actually mean, Arion Llewellyn, is they were powered from the light holders, the bayonet cap in the UK, where you had little plugs, and they occasionally sell them on eBay, the little plugs that go into the bayonet cap lamp holders. At home and when I was born, the Christmas tree, all the Christmas lights were plugged in to bayonet cap lamp holders, a chain of them. It's probably electrically dangerous. My dad made it. It was probably electrically dangerous. No, they don't make a woo noise. No, that's the people holding them make the woo noise while they're hissing. I've seen snippets of Picard on YouTube. I don't know if I like it. He comes across as being a bit old and wandered now. And I thought it was a bit rude, a bit just full of profanities just for the sake of it. It was odd. It was really playing up to the fans as such. Oh, we've got a porn. We've got actually a porn thing. That's nice. Hold on. Let me just see if I can get to that before anybody else does. Remove. Or just remove it in the meantime. Oh, mouse got it. Mouse was first. Where does that idea that you can see the skeleton being electrocuted come from, Mr. Eggcake? It's the common movie misconception that they just thought, seeing the outline of the skeleton because you're lighting up. It's not like that at all. It's nothing like that. Well, I mean, I suppose really if you touch an overhead power line, it might look like that, briefly. But I think you'd be blinded by the flash. Blinded by the light. Electron box. At a university, a student I was sharing a flat with told us that she once put her mother's wedding ring into a light socket to see if it lit up. Spoiler alert, it did. It did light briefly and changed the shape. Why has Electric Boom gone quiet? I don't think he has gone quiet. I think he's still putting stuff out. He may be taking a break. I'm not really sure. Blair Scooten. Sadly, my dad, a maintenance electrician, never made any seriously dangerous hacks or workarounds at home. Aww. He probably did it at work, though. Hurts like shit when you're a kid. Hurts like shit when you're an adult as well. The best way to learn to respect electricity is to get an electric shock. Diamonds can be set on fire, Rifleman. Not sure. I've never really considered that. I wonder if they'd be conductive if you got them hot enough. One of my favourite ones was the mother, to scare a kid off like touching sockets, said they were full of little insects and not to go near them because they were full of insects. So he spat in them and poked sticks in them to see if he could get the insects to come out. That didn't really work, did it? Cody burned diamonds. All right, okay. It seems quite a destructive thing even for Cody. Oh, with liquid oxygen. Big goth kitty. I didn't know that. There's a complete lack of liquid oxygen. I do still think that's what was dripping off the cryogenic lines for the fog generator at Cinemagique in Paris. They had cryogenic lines for a liquid nitrogen fogger. The liquid nitrogen fogger is basically a pressure vessel with ducts coming out to the screen for the presentation, which it just blows lots of fog instantly through a screen, then it dissipates really quickly. And it had industrial heaters in the bottom, keeping it hot, and then pumps. It was like a big piece of heating equipment that would spray the water in, while a liquid nitrogen from a tank outside would actually, and valves would actually spray a mist of liquid nitrogen to create a fog. I don't know why Disney do this. Maybe it's just because it's cleanish. But those working around it, there was always a hissing liquid dripping off the cryogenic control system. And it made me wonder, is that liquid oxygen condensed out of the air? Liquid air, I suppose, really. Argon, it would be largely argon, I guess. It would be mostly argon. No, it's nitrogen it would be. I'm not sure. Which would liquefy first? Liquid nitrogen will liquefy oxygen from the air. That's why I was wondering that, because it was dripping into the concrete. I remember I have a discussion with John Van Oort, who is no longer with us, sadly. A big, heavy-set, ginger-bearded Imagineer about, if it posed an issue with the liquid oxygen dripping onto the concrete. I don't think he'd really considered that. Thank you, Dennis Lacroix. It's been a while. Here's $5 Canadian. Why, thank you. I appreciate your Canadian dollars. Have you disconnected your doorbell? No, I have not. It's a wireless doorbell. I could just turn it off. But I'd forget to turn it on again. Sure, it wasn't just condensate. It hissed when it hit the concrete. It was liquefied gas. Do you know Hayes machine? Yes, Harris Chalk. Hayes machines, fog machines, everything. And indeed, vapor devices. Oh, it is. Is it Woofle time already? Was he a handsome beast? He was fairly handsome. And we, being the two bears there, both of us managed to fall through trapdoors on the stage. Spectacular. It's what bears do, apparently. I was quite miffed because I had a favourite pair of trousers on at the time, and I had a genie lift with sort of wheel about ones for accessing the lighting bars. I was wheeling it back across the stage. These guys were working the special effects because the stage was covered in special effects, so they'd each wanted a trapdoor. And I just completely forgot about the trapdoor and I went down it, and there was a bit of steel rod sticking out, screwed rod, stud. And I went down it, ripped the side of my trainers, and then ripped the side of the trousers. But I'm glad it didn't rip my skin. It was awkward. Me pulling this thing, then just disappearing through the stage. But John Van Oort did something much better. Hold on. Whiffle. This seems appropriate. It had flames on the stage as well. Whiffle. So our complete prick of a contract supervisor who was clueless. We were putting up the curtains. What plastic do you use in the woofler? It's PLA. he had this idea to protect the drapes while working on it on the stage. We should get some roll of polythene and do it across the stage. And the guys did it over all the trapdoors. So it was this translucent polythene with trapdoors hidden underneath it. John Van Oort, what a thud when he went down it. He was okay, but oh, I felt so bad. It was a booby trap. And then they actually put all the trapdoors in. It's like, yeah, is that what it took? Was that what it took? You know, one of your guys falling down the trapdoor, yes. But who covers a trapdoor with fucking polythene? I mean, it's funny. Mind did I go shank the woofle? It's the compression, Mr. Eggcake. Liz Edwards, now I sleep. Sleep well. Peter Stevens, what is the TV tech to buy these days? Need a new one for the house? It's YouTube. That's what you want to look for. The most YouTube functionality. Ah, but there you go. I also pointed out the special effects guys. Oh, what was his name? God, what was his name? They'd put in loads of nitrogen jets, connect to the same system so that when, like, bullets are being fired at the stage, it goes across the stage. But they had these long tubes. And I was saying, what if something went down them? They're going to fire projectiles. And the next day I came in and they'd shortened them all. So I made my mark in Cinemagique. They suddenly realised, yeah, that would fire stuff into the audience. Thank you, Jason Green, for the wine replenishment fund, but only if you fizz and drink some. Oh, I'm not so sure about that. I may buy other liquids and then add fizzy drinks to them. For reference, like that video of the barmaid falling down the cellar, that's the type of thing, yes, Mr. Eggcake. She steps back and disappears. But one of the freakiest things, there was a big sword, because at one point, the character in the film throws a sword out, and it comes out the screen and goes boom onto the stage. And to do that, this is John Van Oort's work, it was pneumatic rams, and the trapdoors on the stage literally went open, close, and they'd open it would fly out, and then they'd close again. Scary thing. If you were standing above that, it would probably launch you into the air, or if you actually had your legs apart across it, you would have no testicles. That's what a lot of Disney stuff was like. It was quite. The engineering was very good. The control systems were overcomplicated. Replacing the fuse to a transformer with a diode makes it go up in smoke. So that does sound like the sort of thing photonic conductor would do, John. Dennis Lacroix, do you ever find it a simple fix when you find a power supply blowing MOSFETs on the primary? I've replaced FETs and lots of things just for them to go by again. Often when the FET goes, it takes out the control chip as well. Sometimes it'll actually, if it jams on, it'll cook the primary of the transformer if it's a switchwood supply, and often it'll burn out the current sense resistor as well. So it's not usually just the MOSFET. But the good news is that if the transformer survives, you get little modules off eBay with like wires, and you just tack them on to like the plus 350 volt rail, the 0 volt rail, the opto-isolator rail, the MOSFET, or it actually acts as a MOSFET. So you connect it to the primary transformer and the feedback, and it does it. It replaces all the circuitry. Oh, and the water effect, it snuffs water from above during part of the show, like something wet happens and it sprays the audience with water. For reference, they had two, just so you know this, they had two water solenoids in series because sometimes they leak, and by having two in series, it prevents it dripping on the audience continually. Back in the days, putting a litre of amyl nitrate in the smoke machine. Not really sure that's a good idea. That's funny, special effects. Not really sure that'd be good. Muscle relaxant. Yeah, that would be shit everywhere, probably. Or asphyxiation. Diode series used to be a trick to reduce power to a mains powered soldier, and that is fine with a resistive load, but not a transformer. It makes them hum loudly. I tried. I thought you could put a diode in place of starter. No, it didn't really work in a fluorescent fitting. It made it buzz extremely loudly. What are you drinking tonight? And tonight I am drinking, well, it started off ginger beer and rum, white rum, and now it's cream soda and white rum, just because that's all I've got left. Ah. Protect your gates with Zener diodes and Diladon. That helps as well. It stops the gate voltage going too high, because that's where MOSFETs are quite easily damaged, because that super thin oxide layer. I'm trying to think what else was in this stage that was quite interesting there. All the rest was in the screen that they had multiple slots. They had a sliding door in the screen, and the whole screen itself could move, so that door could be in different locations. They also had this sort of wigwam effect that it was just a triangular section that just opened and closed. And the idea was when the guy gets beamed into the screen, there were some jets around him, liquid nitrogen again, and light, so it would just fire those jets, and the screen would open, he'd step back, and it would close again, and that was him in the screen, actually in the action. Oh, Sugarline was in London this week and noticed the underground escalators of UVC sanitized the handrails. Mildly interesting. Some are powered, some are actually powered by the actual movement of the handrail and a little generator and ultraviolet LEDs. Not sure if they really do much or not. The whole escalator and elevator industry had a whole load of freeloading people cash in during COVID with ozone generators for the cab and ultraviolet air sterilizers for the fans so that it would keep everything sanitary and coatings for the buttons that would stop everybody getting COVID. People cashed in on COVID, as you know, because I featured a load of products, including the fake ultraviolet lamps. I just spat in the screen of my monitor. This happens. I must have been excited. Our new LED replacement tubes are interesting. Powered one end, fused the other end, and the starters a wire short. Dennis, originally, the first LED fluorescent tubes had power at one end, positive live at one end, neutral at the other. But they found out because if you poke a fluorescent tube in, you usually get one end in first, and a lot of the maintenance guys put them in live. So what was happening then, you feel where the pins are, which isn't recommended with fluorescent tube because it can strike through the gas while you're holding it. But with the LED tubes, the other end was absolutely live all the time. As soon as you had the connections in, the other end was live. It means voltage minus LEDs, so you could get a significant shock. If it's going through a bridge rectifier to smooth it first, then you can get the full 240 whack off that. So that's why they kind of changed it, so it was fed from one end, and you have to put the tube in a particular way round. Yes, the chipmunk. That's a problem with feeding them just from one end and you put the wrong end in. Yeah, and things go bang. But hey, I guess you just blow it up and then you turn it round. Steve Cormack, the 20th richest billionaires in the world doubled their wealth in the first year of COVID, Oxfam report. Yep, they're just inherent parasites. Probably had government connections. Ah. I'll be back in Glasgow in just over 2 weeks, just so you know that. If you see me in Glasgow, if you're about, don't be shy. Come over and say hello, because I'm probably more shy than you are. I'm fine with that. Do you think shaded pole motors are very efficient? They're okay, Dennis Reclat. I've never thought of how efficient they are, but they're very simple and they're very reliable. I've never thought about the efficiency. I don't know about the torque. What are you up to in Glasgow? Just visiting? Buying shite to make videos about? Visiting friends? Wandering around, getting blisters on my feet because I walked around far too much? Video coming up soon. If you're not on Patreon, you won't have seen this, but a video coming up soon about the Barrowlands sign Very interesting video. Very, very interesting video. It's going to be released soon. Putin worse than Thatcher. I think they're both the same type of people. Cunts. And that's when it was demonetized. Do I care? Not really. No, China North Air Guns, no hugs. Saying hello, yes. Bumping knuckles, that's not a sexual term. Getting COVID again, maybe, but they've just said, fuck it. Like the Isle of Man. So many of my friends here now are saying, oh, I've got COVID now. Everybody's getting fucking COVID. Oh, well, it'll soon be over then. The Burns stuff. I'm well. Thank you for popping in. Can't wait for the Perspex shoes to be taken down. I think they're going to be staying up, to be honest, Voltar 2am stereo. I think the shop staff have got used to that nice defensive layer against spit. Got any fucking... You got... Splatter, splatter, splatter. You're live on Channel 4. Please don't say fuck or bugger. Okay, Callum Rowley. That's it. I'll keep that in mind. But anyway, yeah, it's a given thing that they will have cashed in. People will have made lots of money out of COVID. They'll be sad to see it go because, well, it was so profitable. Sneeze guards for staff. It'll keep the sneeze in the other direction, Chris Elzinga. When you're getting your change and suddenly go, oh, and a big booger appears on the inside of it. I wonder who gets the job of wiping those down. What, Bo Selector? Wank banked. What? Mike go, oi, oi, I'm back. Just watch BGT. I bet you don't watch it. I do not watch it. But I tell you who's probably working on it. Vince, the crew chief's probably working on that. Possibly some of my other co-workers too. My triple vaccinated wife just got COVID, hitting her pretty hard, Kevin Hardesty. The question is how hard it would have hit her if she hadn't had the vaccines because, well, I think they'll find out that they had an effect in helping prime the body. It's been pretty grim. Shouldn't it really be BGNT? Probably. Viruses do look quite cute when they're drawn that way, but in reality they're not probably anything remotely like that. Now I'm trying to think, what else? You may notice I put a wee thing up on YouTube, on the main channel. What's your closest scrape at work? And some of them make good interesting. Some of them are not that exciting. People have led very unexciting lives, but there are some genuine near misses. That's quite good. Oh. Best cams, fun, hot girls and boys. 18 plus video. Nice. Lovely. Is it sexier than this, though? Are you being daft or technical? Mr. Eggcake, if you wish technical, seed the technical conversation by asking technical questions. I lost a finger in my CNC mill. Oh, right, a True Society free. Very easy to do, and it happens really quickly. A co-worker at Thomas Johnson's Shop Fitters in the machine shop lost his finger to the router table. I mean, you lose your finger. The weird thing is, imagine the finger gone. Right, that's it there. That's it gone now. You can actually feel the pain in the finger that's not there anymore because of the way the nerves work. Madam, I thought this was a sex chat channel. To some people, it may well be. Hot bears live. Drinking. And taking clothes off. What was the comment you were going to remember last week's poll before Nicola turned up? I haven't a clue, Mondo Daft's a brush. Lost the end of 3 fingers in a router table, Simon Coates. It happens. It's so easy, like circular saws. It's so easy to get complacent and then boom, it's gone. like electrical stuff. So easy to get complacent and you're just being very careful and then just it goes bang anyway. Oh, oh. My dad's dad caught his finger in meat slice but kept it in the dark. It went all black. I think you're supposed to pack it in ice and then they sew it back on or something. Not that I'm really into that. I didn't like certain aspects of Marshall's Chunky Chicken where I'd occasionally get sent to work. Who was that with? EJ Steel and Co. Electrical Engineers. So many sharp blades. I just don't like sharp blades running at high speed and all stainless steel. I remember one of Fulton's electricians there saying it's the worst electric shock ever received off equipment. These days, I'd explain to him that's because it was made of stainless steel and it was wet and it's just basically loads of grounded metal and wet floors. It's just basically you are going to get the worst electric shock of your life. It's a completely different environment. How does one avoid complacency that is just in general life? GPK, if it's your job, you will get bitten at some point, probably. No, no degloving. No, that's horrible. I used to have the original Gents Master Clock, Real Loud Beast, the Chipmunk. I have a Gents Master Clock. It's featured in a video, actually. I put LED illumination inside it tastefully. It's on the inside of the door point in the way. It's out of sight, so the whole clock glows inside. It's quite nice. Quite loud. Cordless power tools, they're very capable of maiming. Saw stop is a good idea, Mark Griffin. Someone offered to send me a used saw stop brake. I wish I'd have taken that up. It was one of those lots of email and it just instantly got buried. Ooh. Ooh, Groovejet attached a pair of Stilsons. That's adjustable pipe grips to a 3-inch BSP screw thread in a lathe and cranked in the clutch. It span and walked my chest. That would just, God, that's like a missile. Ravenlow got a dog's tooth. That's oddly specific in a school dinner once. Looked like it'd been a fight over the square sausage. A dog's tooth. An animal tooth, yes. Oh, degloving. Cringe, yes. Absolutely. I was an apprentice at Gents, John Key. Interesting. I like their clocks. Which is mainly what they made, really. The DJer managed to avoid any shocks in all my years of Spark. Not sure if lucky or what. Yes, you're obviously over careful. Thank you, Dandy. Much appreciated. The stream will be going on until 50 minutes past the hour. So that gives you 25 minutes more stream. But I'll be back on Thursday for the Patreon stream. That's me not advertising the Patreon. I will be back on Thursday for the Patreon stream. Clive, that master clock, was it the main subject of video just search and nothing's come up obvious? Shoka-lion. It was cryptic. Can you guess what it is type thing that's... Oh, and it would have been about 10 years ago. Possibly. Maybe 8. I'm not really sure. Tattoo news, as far as I know, it's happening. Under new creative management, so I don't really know what's going to happen. I have, however, discovered that if you have a Dropbox and Vince the crew chief is sharing a section of that Dropbox and he puts loads of huge files in because he uses it a lot, it heats up. If he puts a 100 megabyte file into his Dropbox, it also counts as 100 megabytes of your storage as well. And there's 5 people in that, so it's 5 people being treated as 100 megabytes of their storage. And it totally erased all my Dropbox storage just by filling it up with what appear to be texture files for something. Video texture files. I'm not really sure. Oh. Chris Parter's bro, a guy at work cut his finger to hang off. When he was back, they had health and safety all over the place. They could not understand who had done it. He demonstrated and did the same thing. Oh, I do not like blades and spinning blades in particular, and catering like factory food processing equipment creeps me out. Good evening, Paul Norman. Are you not drinking this evening? I am, Tommy Hanlon. I'm trying to regulate my drinking so I don't say excessively bad stuff, because you may notice that the channel is a in the moment type of thing. Older videos are being gradually just deleted back to, so it's just a few recent videos, purely because some of the things I've said are just terrible, and it could, well, in the era of cancel culture, they could be used as a weapon by Karens. That's part of the reason. People who themselves have nothing to contribute. I'm sick of your Dropbox is full warnings, Chris Elzinga. That's all I get these days, and and then I go in and delete some files and think, if I just deleted loads of Vince's files, I'm not really sure. John McFern need more alcohol. I'm not really sure about that. I have paid for storage on Google. That's where I store my files, not that I really store that much. My files tend to be the trick, Clive, never apologise. Yes. Votar 2M stereo. All Karens watching now triggered. Fuck the Karens, the DJers. There's too many of them. Glass in bathrooms is also just basically veritable, just waiting to break. Oh, Ashley, my mum told me she had sewn her fingers together at a Yaka factory. I could imagine that. The sewing machines, industrial sewing machines, are ferocious. And one of the things was the thread cutter had a blade came down and it would hit the thread and go back up, but it had a safety feature. If it detected it hit your nail, if your finger was in the way, it would detect a certain pressure and then it would retract. And the guy demonstrating it to them put his finger in and it chopped the end of his finger off, and it's like, oh, that's just... Oh, God. Their machines were savage. Do you know how they teach them how to use the machines? Because they've got a three-phase motor in them, and it's a clutch. It's not your average home sewing machine. It's going brrr, brrr. It's like, basically speaking, it's like really fast. It's like really smashing the fabric through because it's factories. So to teach them, they make them a loop of fabric, it goes over their shoulder and under the seat, and they have to just steer it through the machine. And I tried it, and it was like so fucking scary to use one of those machines the first time, because the speed it goes, you engage the clutch and the fabric is whistling through your fingers, but you get the you get the control of it, but they're also so powerful. Captain Beardy is back from the pub. And don't worry about that being tardy. Ravenly, I still need to get a fuck the cloud. I live in the cloud these days, it's fine. Probably totally insecure, but hey, I do my best to keep it securish. Ashley giving the clue away that he's living in Australia or New Zealand, because that's where the Yaka factory will be. I have Yaka overalls. I recently got a pair of King G overalls from eBay. Servo sewing machines are awesome, Red Fan. I will say that once you've used them for a while, the domestic sewing machines are just, it's like, just fucking hurry up. Really. You get so impatient with them when you've tried the industrial ones, and you know that I could have taken a bit of fabric and just gone vroom, through with it and done it. But yeah, respect. I tell you what, that's the next Jägermunion, is to the ladies and the gentlemen who operate those sewing machines, because it takes, they're savage machines, and it's like some materials, like say for instance, the Guy Cotton Factory, for instance, where they're making fishermen's waterproof clothing. Those are really hard fabrics to actually sew, and yet those ladies are actually just running them through all day through these high-speed industrial machines. They've got balls. Well, they've probably not got balls, because they're ladies. Maybe some of the men, they will have balls. But they're very, yes, awkward. Ex-trapper. I have no friends in real life. Your friends are here, Dane Chip. That's all you need. Who started the Karen shit in the first place? Karen? I'm not really sure, Dane Chip. I know a Karen, and she is actually a Karen. But anyway, don't say cheers to the skilled ladies yet. The real Bob, aka Rob, the real Rob, because that's in 3 minutes' time. We'll be toasting them. Yes. Fran's stream starting. Is it really? Okay. I shall try not to extend into Fran's stream too far. Fran is live. Okay. That's something to go to after this stream. Got two singer 201k, Beardy Weirdy. Not sure about those. I do remember. I was checking. Hold on. I've got to beat mouse. I've got to. Furbear beat me to it. I do remember doing a servicing in Alexandra Workwear on their sewing machines. I was going around checking the motors for bearing problems and stuff like that. And one of them, the starter, had been bypassed by the maintenance guys. And I pressed the off button. I thought, is this machine running down? It doesn't. I think it's vibrating. I'm not really sure. And I stuck a screwdriver into the fan blades. Oh God! It's hit them with such force that. Do you know when you get that, you jar your fingers on something and it was the percussive. My fingers were so sore, even just up the screwdriver. No, Pool Paul. We used to actually have lots of bots on here. That's why there's a 10-second delay. You can't post a comment faster than 10 seconds between your comments. It's because of these bots, because otherwise they come in and they just try hammering to take as much of the space up as possible. Danechip says, I have an NVQ in sewing machine overlocking. It's useful things. Do you want to see my sewing machine? One moment. It's here. It's on a pinball machine. Everybody should have a sewing machine because they're actually really useful. And pinball machines are very good sewing tables to put the sewing machine on. It's on the pinball machine. It says slow mode is on here. The slow mode, Jamal Tyrone, is because it means that you can't post faster than 10 seconds. I sew because it's like fixing workwear and stuff like that. Or what I used to do was I'd be given overalls that the sleeve stopped here. So I'd get the elastic cuff stuff and I'd put it on. So it was a cuffed overall, but it would extend right up so that it protected the wrists. Jägermeister, this is to the seamstresses, I think is the correct term for them. To the ladies and gents who work in the clothing industry like fashion and workwear who use those industrial machines, particularly ones that use the heavy fabrics like tarpaulins and like the fishing clothing and stuff like that, and the industrial jackets, that those machines are brutal and they really have to really take control of the fabric going through it to make sure it goes in the right place. And yet they produce perfect results. To the men and ladies, seamstresses, seamsters, I guess, would be the men. I'm not really sure. They operate sewing machines. Yeah, those people. And if you've any doubts about how scary industrial sewing machines are, if you ever see one, ask for a go. It's all fucking big stabby needles and fucking three-phase motors and choppy blades and like fabric that would basically drag you through with it. Women do it better. Dane Chip, probably women are the best. Alexandra Workwear was full of women just basically doing the stuff. They hated it when I'd come up to them and say, hi, I'm doing a service in your machine. They'd just check the motor and they'd say, oh, fuck off, because basically speaking, they were in price work and they didn't want to move away from their machine because they were banging stuff through and earning bucks. That was not an enjoyable job. Katie Incredible is, going over to see Fran. That's reasonable enough. This stream will be ending in 14 minutes. I came third in the poker, so can't complain. That's not bad, Star Delta. That's not bad at all. Thomas says, Jesus came back to life today. This is good. Let us celebrate by eating chocolate eggs. I think I've got a chocolate egg. The industrial machines have adjustable speeds. The one we had wasn't that fast because it was using insanely heavy needles. Was that for leather then, or rubber, or PVC, or whatever, the industrial fabrics or tarpaulin stuff? Dioth, you heard of this? Simple electronics that blocks local Wi-Fi. Yes. Mike and Co. The Dioth thing was used to knock like the Chrome units off. It's sent because it's insecure, you can send a deauthorization code to Wi-Fi and it knocks it off the network. It was just used to inconvenience people. You get little, I think it's Raspberry Pis can do that out of malice. Lineman, because every fireman need a hero. Absolutely, NBC man old. Even firemen need heroes like Kevin. Maybe not necessarily Kevin, but you know, people like that. ESP can do it. Oh, yeah, ESP32. That's a good point because it is the little Wi-Fi computer. And I guess it's a simple program. All it's doing is sending the deauth code. More of a nuisance than anything else, isn't it? Can hack WPA using deauth. It's just like, they're going to be... Nothing secure, is it really? Because ultimately, when it comes to crunch, it's fun hacking stuff. I don't have anything against non-malicious hackers because I totally get it. I mean, it's fun modifying stuff and making it do things it wasn't supposed to do. I can't really say anything bad about that. Rob Worrell, any chance of a who for Chronic Gaming birthday, please? I think we could have a who for that. Chronic Gaming's birthday. Chronic Gaming birthday whiffle. Whiffle. Chronic Gaming second birthday whiffle with atmospheric effects. Foggy whiffle. I want to see what this looks like now. Not bad. Let's blow it out before I get it too close. Can I smell burning here? I don't think so. I can probably smell burning glycol, actually. That's an interesting thing. Biggest Dickus, can we have a whiffle for the massive shit that I've just had? No, because it will burst into flames. Add some ammonia. No, I'm not going to add ammonia to it. Voice the Clan, thank you for all the professional leather workers now. That is hard work. Leather is just like, it's like trying to keep it in shape, curved. Until you actually try sewing something like that, you'll never appreciate it. Please DMX that woofler. I'm not sure. I've got the DMX fire machine that fires the fuel directly. It's completely non-compliant. I mean, it's DMX. It's not got any safety features in. Star, they're horrible. Slag each other off on a sick day. What? Danger? I don't know. Latency test. 1, 2. Oh, that's fast. That is fast. You're really getting it live. Fun finding shared printers and sending "you're fired" or pornographic images. Yes. Nathaniel Evans, I am 9 feet tall. I hope you're not 9 feet tall because that's going to be bad news for ankles and knees. Leather, welcome to Northampton. Are we talking sex leather here, Electron Box? It's probably the people who make the fetish clothing. I suppose like what comes to mind is those strange dog masks, you know, the pups or whatever they call them. They must be quite hard to sew. But then so is footwear stuff. Yes, probably. Does it... It must affect the fingers of those workers because one of the companies I work with, Thomas Johnson Shopfitters, the cabinet makers all ended up retiring with arthritis because their fingers were worn out because all day long they were working with their hands, continually building the cabinets, and their joints just wore out. Or was it something else that was causing that? Thank you, Michael Buckley. Thank you for all you do. I've learned a lot from your videos over the years. That is good. Thank you. Adidas make my fetish clothing nuts and proud. Yes, I think a lot of people buy sporty type clothing. And they know fine well that that is the market. For instance, the Deadliest Catch also did Grundens a lot of favours, probably with those big rubber trousers. PVC. I was accidentally steaming sparks to a neighbour's TV last night. Oh, that makes me think. Uh, when I was younger, I went through a phase of making bugs, microtransmitters. And I was testing them, and I heard my neighbour's radio. They had it on downstairs in Glasgow, and I go, and then got feedback. And it was like, because like it was a really sensitive microphone, and I suddenly realised I just transmitted on the radio, and then you heard them. I wonder what they were saying. It's that bastard upstairs. Big rubbers, Chris Elzinga. They are big rubberware. 100% dielectrical, as it says in some countries. Not sure they'd classify as that over here. Learning is fun, actually. The chipmunk. Do you notice the technical channels? Their recreation is looking at different areas of technology. That's why I like this sort of like the mechanics and stuff like that, and welding channels and things like that. It's interesting. Sean Yemi, who stitches the cocks into strap-ons? People in China. That's all they do. It makes me think of a video snippet I saw on YouTube of it was a documentary about sex toy factories, and there was an old lady, and all she did all day long was she dipped her glove in dye and then added the veins onto dildos. All she did was just all day long. That was her job. Oh well, if she was paid appropriately. Maybe she took them home and tested them, not really sure. Thank you, Mr. Eggcake. Shower, another shower. Shower? Happy Easter, fuckers, says Dane Chip. Happy Easter to you. Can you recommend any electrical shops in Glasgow? I'm not really sure now. Electronic components, it used to be Take Components, but they're not. I'm not sure if they're even there anymore. RS Components comes to mind. Electrical stuff, Screwfix, Tool Station. I'm not really sure. Definitely for electrical stuff, Screwfix and Tool Station, yeah. Ah. The chill, when she gets home, her husband whips it out and she gets her hand, dips it in dye and makes it look all veiny as well, probably. It turned sexy, didn't it? Sorry. Only do welding for projects now, not as a job, so I can still type. That's reasonable enough, Red Fathom. Doesn't really stop you typing. Doesn't affect your fingers. What would that woman's work title be? The Veiner. I can't really complain. The local gym is owned by a sex toy company. It's owned by Sensations, which is an online sex toy company. The guy has filled the place with the latest state-of-the-art gym equipment. It's absolutely, it's like there's almost no room for anything else. It's just full of really good gym equipment, so that's fine. RFID as a subject. I think I've covered that in the past, but maybe I need to look at it again. Dave, we're talking about a lady working in a sex toy factory. All her job was to rub the veins onto dildos, and it's just like, she was very good at it. I guess. But it's a strange job. Here's what you're going to be doing. Oh. I teach electronics in schools. Any advice getting kids interested in it? Yes, Harvey Cottrell. LEDs. Just LEDs will get kids into electronics. Just because the artistic ones will be, who are going to be the most successful in electronics, love things that light up. So flashing LED is great. Even the simplest thing possible. Let me go and grab one. It's a PP3 battery, a little 9-volt battery. It's a resistor in series, depending on, I've used this a low current one, but say 470 ohm or 1K. And the little Molex connector in the end, and the kids can just give them a pile of LEDs and let them plug them into them. That will get them totally into LEDs because they just light up. We're both autistic, Clive. Everybody technical is autistic, really, aren't they? Because it's just how it is. I'm looking for LEDs. I don't have LEDs in these boxes. I do. I should have LEDs. 5mm general. I do. They're not going to be very bright because this is not. This is designed for testing at very, very low current. So it's not going to be bright because this is designed for testing at very low current, but you can see that just plug an LED into it, it lights up. This stream needs more neon. It's got the LED neon is coming up. That video has been made, and then you'll have as much neon as you want if you've got a 3D printer. If you've not got a 3D printer, buy one because they're very affordable now. Just buy, build, make. The stream will be ending in 2 minutes, just so you know. New Ninja, making my young nephew a traffic light toy. That's reasonable enough. Famous guest, do tell. What's the famous guest, John Robinson? I don't have famous guests. Well, June, the King of Ramsey, obviously. And Kevin the lineman. And Nicola. Yeah, there's something I'd like to say, Dennis, about a vehicle ticketing system that I know and how it was reverse engineered, but I can't talk about that because to protect the people responsible, but they did it at a geek level, they didn't do it out of malice. And I'll be making videos. The next video I'm going to be making is probably going to be about these battery isolator type things and comparing them and seeing what the metal is. Nutsproud says I'm diagnosed autistic. Most of us are. Autistic is just technical people. It's fine. Thank you, Silver Fox Woven. Last minute stream. Thank you for all the videos. I could, if I'd known Fran was going to be running after this stream afterwards, I could have actually gone in and set it to go to FranLab. Can I do that? Can I divert you to FranLab? Let me just check this out. Let's do an experiment and see if this works. So let's go to YouTube. Let's type in Fran Blanche. Fran Blanche. There's Fran. FranLab is live now. And go to that live stream. I don't know if I can actually do this at this time. Little advert, that's good. Let me just double check if I can actually do this. So if I go to here, just give me a second here. I'm working on something, experimenting with something. And I want to go to your videos and I want to change a setting in this. I don't think it'll work, but you know what? It's worth a go. Because it'll be useful for the future to know. Because I know other YouTubers have done these things where they all diverted. When one YouTuber finished, it went on to another one. They did a big marathon. So this is something that's actually worth trying. So I want to go to this one, which is in process. I want to edit it. I don't know if this will work. Let's try it out. You guys can tell me later on if it worked. Settings, audience, show more. Automatic chapters, language and captains, recording date, lines, distribution, short sampling, category, comments and ratings. Let me just, bear with me here. Sorry, I'm not paying attention here. You could be saying anything. What is the customization? Will let me do things, I think. Customization is the mode because they added it in. Redirect, add. Is this going to let me? Oh no, it's not going to let me do a specific video. Just give me a second here. Redirect. Add. It's not letting me do it. This was a waste of time. Yeah, I think I'd have to set it up in advance beforehand. I don't think I can do it afterwards. Sorry. I'll just put a link here then. There you go. There's your link. Thank you, Sean Yam. Just a bit extra on top of Patreon. It's great. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you. Definitely not going to pick on Franz. Covers a niche area of some of the stuff she does is very interesting. The old displays and stuff like that. That's Fran's thing, is displays is quite good. But anyway, the stream is now coming to an end. I shall see you next week, or if you're a patron, I shall see you on Thursday. And in the meantime, I'll be continuing to put out videos. So have a good week. I shall see you either later in the week or next week. Have a good week. Awkward moment.